today, so we're going to try and keep things concise. So those of you who turn up for public forum and deputations, I'm going to ask you to keep your deputations to 5 minutes rather than 10 for deputations. We can only go for so long, and given it's the last meeting of the term, we'll just have to do our best. So I ask everyone, including us politicians, to try and keep things brief. Right. Let's open with our karakia. Whakataka te haere ki te uru, whakataka te haere ki te tonga. Ia mā kina ki uta, ia mā tara ki tai, e ia ki ana te atakura, e tio, e huka, e hauhunga, tihei, maunga. All right, thank you everybody. So first we have apologies. Just so I'm a potential apology for early departure because I have quite a bad neck injury, which I'm coping with by, well, not doing much usually, but being pumped full of painkillers. So yeah, but boy, out of my chair, you know why. Do we have any other apologies? No other apologies. So I'd like to move that the apology be accepted. Moved by Greg and seconded by Alex. All those in favour say aye. Against, carried. Any declarations of interest to make? No declarations of interest. Next we have confirmation of previous minutes. So for the 11th of August.
I'll move accurate.
Moved by Tim and seconded by Greg, who beat you out. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. All right. Now we will move to our public forum. So public forum are for items that aren't on the agenda, but where somebody from the public wants to come and talk to us about just about anything. So and these are usually 5 minutes, and we'll keep them to 5 minutes today. So the first public forum we have Daryl from St Albans Sports Club. Hey, Daryl.
Afternoon.
And
just
yeah, just sit down, and to use the microphone, you see the profile of a person with sound waves coming out. Cool.
Well, thank you for your time today. I'm Daryl. I'm from the Canterbury Bowling Club. We've amalgamated with a couple of clubs, and we've spent quite a lot of money and bought the old bowling club at the Wilson Workings Club. So we are planning to build a massive indoor stadium there. So that's not for me, for you, it's for everybody. So it's a complete community venue that we're looking to have there. We've already started this year with promoting, and we've promoted it and even made to 7 sharp with about 180 students from the local schools going for our bowling club. So we're really educating from a young level about bowls as being a good alternative to some of the sports out there now. We're also, our facility is quite a massive building, and it's open for all sorts of community groups. And because it's not on council land and it's privately owned by our bowling club and what we're building, we thought it's best to actually start letting people know about us. And it's really an impressive setup. We haven't got a large membership, but we are growing, and we will grow massively once we finish building the stadium, which is in the finer stages. So we probably start that hopefully within the next 6 to 12 months of building it, all going well. And we can't see any reasons why we wouldn't. Just make sure I've got all of these covered. So like I say, the facilities will be for hire. So any community groups out there that are looking for something to use a venue, our hall is massive. We have heaps of room there for anybody to come along and join and be part of and play bowls. And it's a different sport. Most people look at it and go, it's an old man's game. It's not. It's from the youngest to the oldest. And it's a very, very good community sport. I don't know, just trying to think what else I could say. Oh, we're in Compton Street, of course. And yeah, that's about it.
All right.
Any questions?
I just want to say I think it's wonderful that you're well done, and taking that facility to the Wolseley Workmen's Club. That's where it's going. It's just brilliant, going to bring a lot of people into that area. That's been really good.
Yes, it's of course we're a separate entity.
Yes.
So, but the reality is that it's all about our community and all the groups in the area.
Yeah, cool. That's really exciting, and we'll be hoping to keep Garrett Park and
Yes,
in the long term. Yeah.
yes, that'll be very, very good.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you very much. We should keep moving given the constraint.
Thank you very much.
As a member for Woolston, I'm also very excited.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Cheers, guys.
All right. Next we have Anne Scott from Spokes.
Stephen
Wood.
And Stephen.
Wood. Dr. Stephen.
Kelly.
We live there right from.
All right. The floor is yours.
Kia ora koutou, ko and stop Takaroa. And Stephen Woods as well, who's joining me. So I'm going to be really fast because I only got 5 minutes. So I hope you'll read the document afterwards, which will have a lot more detail in it. But Spokes held a planning day in Tauranga in March. Next slide, please. And sorry?
Slide 3.
Oh, yeah. So Spokes held a open planning day in Tauranga in March, and we had 187 suggestions from the public in terms of what we should do to prioritise cycling within the city. We've since prioritised for each community board, and we're going to talk today particularly about top 3 our priorities and some general priorities. But we hope in the future we'll be able to present some more. We also looked at the Love to Ride data entered by participants, which told you which was the safe areas in particular places. So overwhelmingly, the top priority was the MCR New Brighton to City via Pages Road. There was lots of support for a direct route which supports commuters and school travel. The City to Sea is really a recreational rather than a direct port. It doesn't do the job that people want. And we also had a lot of suggestions about doing this cheaply as a trial on Pages Road using the techniques from Park Terrace. However, a permanent solution is best and cheapest in the long term. Our preferred route is Pages, Woodham, Worcester, finishing at England Street, where another cycleway continues into the city. It's about 5.2 kilometres. And we really don't want the Avonside Drive route, which is suggested in some council documents. We're assuming here it's starting from Anzac Drive and that the rest is in the bridge replacement project. And we'd quite like you to start building from the New Brighton end. And we'd also like you to rename the Pages Road MCR to avoid confusion, because every time we talk to people who are not used to this, we have to explain what we're talking about, whether we're talking about City to Sea or we're talking about this route. If we could get that confusion cleared up, it would be really nice. The second priority was Preston's Marsh and Road intersection. So cyclists, particularly travelling west on Preston's Road through the Marshlands Road intersection, are being cut off by traffic turning left into Marshlands Road, the BP and the shops. There is actually a shared path by the BP and the pedestrian crossing, but there's no cut down to get onto that shared path. So we quite like the cut down. The red turn light is available, but it does not trigger with cyclists there. And that's a particular concern at night when they just don't seem to see you. Vehicles turning north from Pestons Road also do not see cyclists going straight through. So cyclists coming east, people are turning right out of Pestons Road, and you've got to be very, very careful. And we'd quite like you to ask staff to review the intersection safety and recommend improvements for cyclists. And of course, when they do that, they also do it for pedestrians. And we'd also like at some stage to re-establish the off-road cycle lane on Preston's Road. It's an increasingly popular route to go to the Hills Road underpass, which gets us back into the city. We've also talked to Waipapa about this as well, because I realise this intersection is right on the boundary, which is a bit of a nuisance. So your side is going north and their side's going east. The third priority is the Rookwood Ave Bow Hill Road, Travis Road. This is really an important missing link which needs road safety issues. There's a lot of road safety issues between the really good QE2 drive path through Travis Road and down to Marine Parade, where you are now putting in a really good shared cycleway. There's lots of schools around there. There's lots of kids and bikes, Avensides girls, boys, Shirley boys and Rafiti schools. And the drivers are just travelling too fast. They're passing far too close to cyclists. And so ideally it would be a separated cycleway. But even painted lines would help. So we'd like you to ask staff to look at safety options to reduce speeds and to move cars closer to the centre line. If you have a look at the picture at the bottom right, you'll see you just come out of the roundabout and you're about to go down Rookwood Road, Rookwood Ave, and there's absolutely no space. In fact, the white line is basically telling you there's no space for cyclists there at all, and it really needs an improvement. And the road surface on Bow Hill Road is rough. You've only, it has been smoothed in the middle and not at the edges where cyclists travel.
And sorry, we've come to the 5 minutes if you just want to finish up.
Finish up. So we've got some 4 to 6 priorities as well, which you can have a look at, particularly the 2 refuge crossings on Rutherford Street, Keys Road and Avonside Drive at the end. Some general priorities on bike parking, provision of cut downs, more cycle signage, and some recommendations. We'd like you to ask staff to report on the progress of the Pages Road MCR, including the routes selected, review the Prestons Road, Marshalls Road intersection for safety and recommend improvements for cyclists, review Rookwood Ave, Bow Hill Road, Travers Road to improve safety for cyclists, and to report on advice provided for these review.
We shall refer this to staff for further investigation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Annie. Thanks for being so quick.
Thank you.
All right. Next we have a group of residents from Rutherford Street. So I think Claire and Dr. Red.
Hello.
Now I'm sure you're aware that this road is under the
We are, yes.
under the overlordship of NZTA.
Yeah, so recognising that this is the road controlling authority, but we'd still like to bring it to your attention.
And you're very welcome. So the floor is yours.
Thanks. My name's Ria Chapman. This is Claire Claydon, and we live on Rutherford Street. So we're here because we really need the community board's help in asking CCC staff to help us work with NZTA to get some action on the road safety on Rutherford Street. So in terms of background, this is State Highway 74A. 11 houses, which we live in too, were completed in 2022. And since then, we've had a lot of very near misses. It's a major arterial route. It's also a major freight route, lots of logging trucks and so on. And since the houses have been completed, there's been an additional 20 houses on the same kind of stretch of road from the Tannery to Ferry Road. And every day we have cars that contravene the 1 metre from the driveway parking, which makes getting in and out really dangerous. We actually had one of our residents who was involved in an accident exiting the driveway just recently, and was very lucky that it wasn't more serious. We feel that we need 1 car parking space marked outside number 17 and number 19. Currently, NZTA have painted half the lines for 1, and then cars just squeeze right up, so you have to go right out. And with logging trucks coming the other way, it's really dangerous. So key points, it's a major arterial route, it's a freight route. Although NZTA are the road controlling authority, in CCC's suburban parking policy, safety is the top priority. Residents parking is the 8th. So we really appreciate working with CCC staff to see how we best engage NZTA. According to NZTA, they weren't informed of the development and they weren't asked for their input into get clearer controls implemented. And so that's what we'd like to work with staff on. And we really need CCC's help in getting communication with NZTA. We've raised the safety issues with CCC and NZTA since 2023 and haven't really got very far. Yeah, thank you. Happy to answer any questions.
We've actually received correspondence from NZTA advising of their intention to include markings in this location during the next round of markings. But, and there's always a but, they cannot confirm when it will happen, and it is usually done once a year.
Yeah.
And there are a number of other things that we would like NZTA to do sooner rather than later. So we'll include this on the list of things that we'd like them to do. I don't think I'll get any dissent around the table for that. Is there, have I got time for one question? Yanni?
Thank you. I understand that NZTA is a road controlling authority, but as I understand it, council's the land use consenting authority.
Yeah.
And just in terms of your experience on that street and what you're seeing in terms of the increased development and intensification.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a need for council to look at our district planning rules to ensure that there's sufficient space for people to egress their properties?
Definitely.
Absolutely. I mean,
Definitely.
since we moved in 2022, there's been an increase in the traffic on the road and
Yeah.
freight traffic in particular.
Yeah.
But looking at the consent and the district plan and the things that should be in place on a road such as State Highway 74A, they're not in place.
So can we get, I mean, I've raised this before, but can we get a process to actually get a briefing or a workshop with staff?
We can't make any decisions based on a public forum at this stage, but I'm sure that we can note that we would like a briefing on this matter.
But I mean, it's already, it should already be recorded because it has been raised previously with staff. Maybe it's just getting it noted so that there is
Yeah, well,
action that we can show.
what I've suggested that it be noted. Yep. All right. Well, thank you very much for coming to the
Thank
board.
you.
And
Thank you.
sorry, we don't have time. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So the final public forum is by Carol on behalf of Paige for a youth development report back.
My name is Carol Pilbara, and unfortunately, my granddaughter is not well this afternoon, but I've come on her behalf. And I'd like to read her dissertation. Good afternoon. I'm Paige Woodrow, and I was fortunate enough to receive a youth development grant for an international netball tournament. I would like to pass on my gratitude as the money was greatly appreciated and helped to go towards the trip cost of over $2,500. And it is my pleasure today to attend to report back on it. In the beginning of July of this year, my Kia Toa under-18 netball team was privileged enough to attend the International Netball Festival held in the Gold Coast, Australia. In the under-18 category of this tournament, there were 18 teams, 10 from Australia, 3 from Fiji, 5 from New Zealand, and my team being the only team representing the South Island. The tournament was an incredible experience, both on and off the court. Over the 4 days of the competition, we faced a wide range of playing styles and skill levels, which really tested our development as players. Our team had a strong start in pool play and with some very competitive matches against the Australian teams in particular. The Fijian teams were more physical, which we're not used to. Every game demanded that we adapt quickly and support each other, which strengthened our teamwork and resilience. By the end of pool play, we had secured a place in the top 4. The semi-final was a hard-fought battle against the Australian team Pembroke, where despite giving our best effort, we narrowly missed out on a win. However, we bounced back with determination for the playoff match, and we were proud to come away with 3rd place overall, beating Nazareth. Out of the 18 international teams finishing in the top 3 was quite an achievement that we're extremely proud of, and it was a true reflection of the commitment and hard work from both our players and coaches. Beyond the results, the tournament gave us invaluable learning opportunities. We gained experience competing against international opponents, made new friendships, especially the friendly Fijians, and we represented Kia Toa, Christchurch and New Zealand with pride. As well as our amazing results, we had a lot of fun off court. We got to spend time together at the theme parks and do shopping and enjoy everything the Gold Coast had to offer. These experiences brought us even closer together as a team and gave us unforgettable memories. Since the tournament took place midway through our regular season here in Christchurch, I believe this experience of playing together and bonding as a team gave us the extra edge that we needed. It helped us to win the under-18 Division 1 final back here at home, and that was a fantastic way to end our season. So I'd once again like to express my gratitude for the support that I received. Not only eased the financial burden of the trip, but it also allowed me to take part in an unforgettable experience, which has grown me both as an athlete and an individual. Thanks for listening. Is Peter passed around? And there was the 3rd place medal.
Awesome.
Did you get to go with it?
Pardon?
Did you get to go with it?
Not a chance. No, my daughter was managing the team, but it's a lot of hard work and fundraising. Yeah.
Can only imagine. Well, yeah, and please give Paige your best wishes for speedy recovery.
Good job.
Right. So that marked the end of the public forum. So now we move on to deputations. So we're going to do deputations item by item. So we've got the next item we're going to is item number 9, which is the commercial recreation opportunity in QE2, and then 11, which is Canterbury Billiards and Snooker Association. So the first deputation is from Chris Bond on behalf of 5 Under Par.
Kia ora everyone, thanks so much for having us here today. Thank you to the community board, past and present, and the council staff. A lot of hard work's gone in to get us to this point today. The images you've seen up there is the first look at, is going to be rebuilt on the QE2 site. We will start moving dirt in January and it will be open in November. The top left one with the red veranda, that's going to be your entry point into the facility. And split level, so we can have little semis function up the top, or week birthday parties and things like that when they come in. On the right hand side image, you'll see a coaching area in the back of the restaurant hospitality area. And bottom left is what the range bays are going to look like. Each bay is going to have safety netting in it. That's again part of our safety plan to keep the balls in the range. There's that. Bottom left, the biggest image there. Again, that's a different angle of the 32 bays. We've had to go single level as opposed to what was there at QE2 Golf Park before the earthquakes. That's a safety issue. On the right hand side, the wee square, that's going to be the wee function area. Storage and offices are on the second main building, on the second level there. Here's an aerial view. On the far left-hand side in the grey is the maintenance shed. In the light purple, we've got the 32 bays. The yellow, we've got our coaching area, our club fitting area. The need for this is because when you're giving someone a lesson and you've got them on an iPad or an iPhone, you actually need a bit of distance, say to where Paul is to where I am, and that's to get to the top of the swing. So you need a bit of depth. And also if you've got, say, Shirley Boys High Golf team coming over with 12 golf bags, you don't want them blocking up all the exits and things like that. So we need a big area for that. We're working on with the local pro who's going to bring in international visitors. So they'll train and base themselves off our range, and then they'll go play one of our 36 golf courses around Canterbury. In the orange there is the hospitality area where we can have functions and beverages and food served. Left-hand side, just in black and white. The maintenance shed is going to be a lot of our ball management, and it's going to come up and we're going to tear it up for you. So you don't have to bend down, you just hit the ball and it's popping back up. So a lot of work's going to be put into that to make it as easy as possible. Right-hand side, zoomed in a little bit more to see what the function area is going to look like, cafe facilities and the coaching bay area. You'll see the dotted lines out the far right-hand side there. That's going to be part of our phase 2, putting in a golf simulator where you can play golf courses around the world like St Andrews, Augusta, and also kids games. So it's something for the whole family, but we can't do that straight up. That's going to be part of our phase 2 in this project. Here's a different view. Very mindful of time, so apologies if I'm skipping through this too fast.
That's no problem.
This is the company that are doing our lighting for us. They do sporting facilities across the country. Mindful, we don't want it bleeding out onto Frost Road and things like that. We want it where the balls are going. Excuse me, where the balls are going. We don't want any wastage and things like that and affecting our neighbours. That's the type of floodlights we're putting in, so not those big, huge, massive things. We're going with the modern state-of-the-art stuff. So it's sending light where we want it. Here's an aerial view of how the range is going to set up. We're going to astroturf the whole lot. And that's because of the state of the land post earthquakes. It changed and we need to account for that. We don't want to lose bulls at $2 a pop. And we'll have to shut down in winter time if we don't do that, and we don't want that. So you can see easier access off Frost Road into the multiple car parks. We've had to bring the whole, if you do remember the original Q2 Golf Park, we've had to bring the building back, and that's because we've had to go single level. So that takes out the option of doing the mini golf, where the mini golf used to be, the Lost World. So as a part of our phase 2, and it's not part of this lease that we're doing right now, but in phase 2, we'd like to do the mini golf as pictured on screen there. Now that's outside of this lease, what we're talking about here, but that's our intention, and that's where the sack slide, fingers crossed, will be as well, if we can come up with a safe plan on that. I mean, I grew up as a kid jumping on the whale, doing a sack slide, so if I can bring that back, I will, but we've got to make that sack slide safe. And yeah, just so you're aware, that's where we'd like the mini golf to go as a part of this family entertainment area. And that's what it's all about. You know, every school holidays, I'm at Rawson Street with Nana and Grandad, and then Bower Ave, walking to QE2, doing the sack slide, later getting into the golf. I ended up working at QE2 Golf Park for 5 years. So it's a bit of a passionate and personal project for me. So if we can be part of the community and all that, then I'm in for it. I do sports clubs, I do schools, high school, junior, and all that sort of stuff. So if we can help with fundraising, we're there. But we need the green light from you guys. That's the only thing that we need. And we start moving to it in January. We open in November.
Excellent. Are you happy to take questions now?
Yes, please.
And bear in mind time, everyone. Greg.
I'm a bit of a wayward golfer. What sort of height are you looking at? Because I know the next last time my balls quite often go under.
We can fix that.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the safety netting in each bay, that's going to help the people going straight sideways, or the shank as it's called, but also around the outside. I think we were looking around 20-30 metres, so a lot higher than what it was. Because when it originally opened, we're hitting wooden woods on the drone range. We've now got golf clubs that are co-designed by NASA, so they go a bit further. And the range balls are going to be flight limited, but the GPS tracking we're going to have in it. Say, for example, you're in bay 17, and by some miracle you manage to get over the net, your bay shuts down. We know it's you, and we've got you on camera. So,
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for your investment in the area. Everything being equal, if everything went incredibly well and you did finish it, how soon would you be able to start the mini golf team, potentially other things?
Within 2 to 3 years, we'll be underway. I'd like to think it'll be closer to 2. That first year, we'll be getting our systems 100% perfect, you know, because we know that we're not going to be that, but we're going to try. Then after that, we'll get the experts designing the mini golf course, not me, because it'll just be loops and waterfalls and stuff. So we'll get that New Zealand mini golf experience.
There's funding for that, and well, there's a
yes, that's all part of our rollout. Yeah, so we're looking between 6 and 8 million for this project.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Thanks.
All right. Joe, is there any? So I just want to, unless there's any like detailed questions about what's been asked today, I don't really want to keep having questions.
Are you going to have the entrance from both sides, like the road and the Q2 Park?
Yeah, with traffic management, it's easier to get people in from Frost Road, and we'll advertise that. Probably an overflow car park will be out the Robin Tate end side of things. Imagine if they develop that with sports fields, that will be taken up. But we'll direct everyone to the Frost Road because you've got heaps of room for turning left and right.
So as a board, it would be good to actually try and get that other car park entrance done as quick as possible to help you.
That would be a big help, yes.
All right. Well, with that, you're welcome to take your seat back in the public gallery, so we can discuss, and we'll make the decision.
Thank you very much.
But thank you very much for your presentation and the many hours of work you put into it. Yes, you
actually, could I actually propose, as well as moving it, that we request an update from staff in relation to if there's any planned works to the entrance from Frost Road.
So you're proposing the staff recommendation with the
with the 5, that staff report back to the board on any possibility, on the status of the Frost Road.
All right. So do we have a seconder for that? seconded by Celeste, okay, so that's on, it's because we haven't moved this, that's a substantive rather than an amendment. So, but we have staff here to provide us advice. Is there anything you'd like to draw to our attention?
No, I think that was a good presentation. It's a good update. As Chris said, it's taken us a little while to get here, but I think this is something that's going to be very feasible, and we hope that the board supports the approval of the plans. When we came to the community board last time, it was contingent on just approving these plans. So we're satisfied with everything else.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I think that's, whoops, well, I think that's the point tonight. You've already approved the lease in principle. This is just signing off the concept plan as being presented today. In terms of the question, Parks will be coming back to the board about the master plan and sports field developments on QE2 anyway, so I think that'd be the opportunity to address the other car park.
Yeah, if we just get that.
Yeah,
No,
so, well,
there's no risk of that precluding
no,
1 to 4 rucks additional.
yeah, no, that's fine. Well, in that case, I don't think we have, do we have any pertinent questions?
No.
No, well, in that case, we have, it's been moved by Alex and seconded by Celeste. Do we have any debate? Does anyone want to, I don't think anyone wants to speak against it. No, well, in that case, I'm going to put it. Pardon?
Just do it.
Just do it. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. All right, thank you very much. And
Good to see you, Angus.
Good to see you.
and I think we've got the next one, which is Kathy's name is on it well. This is really just a pro forma one where there was this is a pro forma where there was incorrect advice provided, so we need to rescind and redo a motion. So that means we need a 3/4 majority, doesn't it? That means we need a 3/4 majority. Yeah, so, but I don't believe there's going to be any dissent anyway. So I'm going to put that. All those in favour? Who moved it? Sorry. Moved by Jan, seconded by Jackie. Put that now. All those in favour say aye. Against, carried. So just for the public, this is just doing something that we already agreed to do properly. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
And so the next items we're going to have deputations on is the North Beach proposed car park improvements. So the first deputation is all going to be 5 minutes. I would rather that, so I will note, I'll hear you when we come to, yeah, so. In your last community board meeting, so Trudy Burrows, you're welcome to join us at the table. Trudy.
Hello, kia ora everyone.
One with the sound coming out the face. Yep.
So I was one of 3 that presented a petition to council a while back now with over 900 signatures about the Freedom Campus. But obviously with that there were technicalities attached and it couldn't go ahead in the way we'd wanted. Today I'm representing actually sort of more my family and extended family, and there's like 18 of just my immediate family and 17 of extension, and we all live within minutes of this one particular area in North Beach. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that this is such a gem of a place. You know, there's nowhere else in Christchurch where we have this particular community, the way it meets and draws people there. And recently, in the last couple of years, with more people coming into the area, there's more and more people. So the car parking space is getting less and less. So, yeah, you know, at the moment, most of us have to park over the road, and now it's getting further down the road because of the campus, the Freedom Campus. And So recently, I spoke with a councillor and we talked about this issue. And I said, well, what has been done at Waimairi Beach that is working, but isn't being done at our place? Anyway, so we talked about, can we then prohibit overnight camping for everyone, not just targeting freedom campers? So that is what I'm proposing. That's my thing today is, can we go along with what has been done at Waimairi Beach, which I believe is prohibiting overnight camping from 10 p.m. to 7 in the morning, but with exemptions for those that are having functions at either the community hall or the surf club. That's my main one. The others that I've talked to, none of us want the restricted times there. A lot of us go there with little children. I have 10 grandchildren of my own, all under 10. We go there most weekends. And if it's a really sunny day, you know, you want to be there for half a day often. And so by restricting it, it takes it away from it. And I believe anyway, but also, will it be monitored? You know, and theoretically, it probably won't be. So why install a regulation when it can't be consistently monitored? The other thing I'm not sure about, because it was hard to see on the plan whether there was actually a bit of a green strip there for cyclists, a cycleway. I'm not sure. I know there's been some talk about it, but from the people that we've talked to, they are also saying they do not want this, mainly because, you know, when you've already parked on the other side of the road, you've got kids, you've got a bag with clothes and towels trying to get across. You get across the road and there's a cycleway which you've got to navigate as well. I mean, at the moment, cyclists already go through there and they know that it's busy and there's people there, so they are careful. But if there is a green strip there, it's almost like, well, we have the right of way, you know, so they may not take the same precautions. But I'm not too sure because it was unclear in the what was put out in the diagram whether that has been put there or not. But to keep it short, I'll leave it there. But really just saying that that's the solution that I'm proposing, and to see again whether there's any technicalities. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Question from Celeste, and then Kelly, and then Greg.
And feedback was really helpful. That with some of these things. For you personally, do you think that the problem is because Broad Park, which is, as I introduced the notice of motion, which was around noise overnight, but the feedback we've been getting is that it's used during the day. So do you think the overnight restriction would help during the day?
Absolutely, because I think if you are a tourist and say you're in Akara or something, think, oh, well, I might go to Christchurch for the night. Let's have a look where I can camp overnight. And if they can see, well, we can't camp overnight in this area, they're probably not going to go there, you know, and so it's going to discourage them on some level.
And just kind of thought that, would you have a problem with people parking there all day? So if people are parked up as vans, you'd be fine with that during the daytime?
I mean, I prefer not. At the moment, it's the other weekend there were 6 camper vans there taking up 2 spaces. So that is a lot of the issue. And the other issue is, like, when I have grandkids there, you take them to the beach, they come and put their feet under the tap. Campers are there with their dishes, doing the dishes, and you've got scraps there as well. Some we've visibly seen, they are putting their waste just on the ground, no caring at all. And so it's things like that. But I don't know the solution to the daytime.
We've reached the end of the 5 minutes.
Okay.
Appreciate it very much, and we'll bear that all in mind in our discussion. Thank you, Trudy. Right. So next we have Kim Money on behalf of her Residents Association and herself. So we'll try to get that to 5 minutes.
Not the two together, 5 each.
5 each?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks very much. Good afternoon. Sorry to hear about your neck. It's no good at all.
I'm for starting judo at age 14.
Well, it's no good. That sounds very serious. So you look after yourself.
Right.
Okay. So firstly, I'd like to give you Kim Money. So firstly, I'd like to give you some context around my involvement with the space and my understanding of the space. So I've lived in the area 44 years, since 1981. So most of you weren't even born, and a couple of you would have been in nappies, but not Kelly. But anyway, we're a surfing family, so we actually hang around at this spot and have done for 44 years. So if we leap to 2000, 25 years ago, I recognise the need in the community, some faith, community cafe, boutique, movie theatre. The best place for this was the North Beach War Memorial Hall. However, it looked like this at the time, very derelict and very run down. So I got together with a friend, Miri Karakatawa, and we spearheaded the $1.3 million refurbishment and the earthquake strengthening of this hall. We didn't do it alone. We worked with the North Beach Residents Association, council, the council was at the time 24 of them, and the council staff. And this was a very, very successful collaboration, as you can see today. I've got a photo of it, but you know what it looks like. So that refurbishment triggered a new landscape plan between the North Beach Surf Club and the hall. So me being me, I've kept this 25-year-old plan. I keep all things for historical reasons. And this is the creative version. The actual proper version is over here. But what I want the key point, I want the C's up here, by the way, over here. What I actually want to mention here is that council staff came up with a vision plan for this area, for this landscaping thing. And the last point it says here, and I'm saying this because it actually links in with what Trudy said about that strip there. That's a bit confusing now. It says new foot access from Marine Parade directs foot traffic away from the car park and the driveways. So there's a little track that when you come off the gravel path where you're going to do your craft thing, when you come along the gravel path there's a path in front of the hall which you can actually go into, and the staff landscaped it so that you would actually go down the new bollard strip, or you could meander through by the wall and take in the views. So keep that in mind if there is any thoughts about using that space. That has always been used as a shared space and has worked really well for many, many years. So as Trudy said, this is not just a car park, it's a community hub. So if we jump to 2015, 10 years ago, the North Beach Surf Club, the juniors absolutely took off. The coffee shed started, and between the two of them has created such a community, and it's so more connected now, along with the North Wide Bronze and the hall users. So with that history, I really know this car park. So then COVID lockdowns came and they went. Freedom Campers took off. Problems with this over the summer months, and we managed to get the CEO temporary ban over the weekends, which we had because then the bylaw was changed to permanent in 2021. However, Freedom Camping banned in Sumner at this time, same time, 2021, South Shore Waimari Beach Car Park. So together with the new bylaw bans and with the council website and other tourist information sites advertising and promoting camping in the spot, Freedom Camping has taken over and residents have had enough. The car park itself is not the main problem. It has always been the increasing number of Freedom Campers. Hence the petition to ban Freedom Camping at all times. 900 concerned residents, which this board supported at council, and thank you for that, because that was amazing. That gave our residents a lot of hope. This, the 900 residents concerned petition, this is your clear mandate. To jog your memory, the last meeting that myself and the Surf Club and North Wide staff attended here, we were asked what was the greatest issue. We all agreed it was the overnight camping. We were led to believe that staff were to take our comments away and come back to us in the community board and then go out to consultation, but unfortunately this did not happen. Consultation went live and we didn't get the email key stakeholders about the change in the process and it going live, so that was most unfortunate. So the consultation was for 2 weeks only, very short. The map used was a bit ambiguous, it wasn't very clear, bit of confusion there. The details missing were, it didn't actually show the stage 1 of the Surf Club rebuild, and it didn't show the new relocation of the North Beach coffee shed. So you didn't have context of what could happen here. There were 93 submissions, and the consultation went out with about restricted parking at all times. So the report preferred option says restricted parking, 180, 3 hours, from 7 in the morning till 7 at night, and 10 minutes on the road. Therefore, anybody can park overnight. So if you flick to page 69, 4.7, it says, given the lack of overnight parking demands issue, staff recommends only restrictions during the day. But that's not, the lack of overnight parking is not according to the 900 residents that signed the petition. That's the problem. Page 70, 411.2, it addresses requests to provide restricted parking. Let's just make this clear. Restricted parking didn't actually originally come from the community, okay? It was put to the board by one of the councillors. So the major concern and the major request is the overnight parking in the Freedom Campus. Okay, so page 70A, that's B. Like any other beach, we do not need to encourage parking turnover. As I've said, there are no problems with this other than using the car park for camping. D says it does not take away any parking provisions. Well, restrictions during the day actually does, because what a camper can do, and staff have already told you this, is that it's a funny wee grey area. Campers can turn up at 3 in the afternoon and park for 3 hours. So from 7 then till 7 in the morning, they're camping. Come to 7 o'clock in the morning, they are then parking. So technically, camping can be from 3 in the afternoon till 10 in the morning. So that means we're back to square one with freedom campers being a problem. The 10-minute parking, it says that it may create more visibility with people on the road coming and going, but that is exactly the problem. It will create more comings and goings. F says it still allows provision for freedom campers over the week and weekends and consistent with the bylaws, but this is not consistent with the 900 residents that wanted a ban. Page 71, it says there was strong support for community for the 180 restrictions. With all due respect, that's not really strong, considering there was 93 submissions and we have 900 residents that want.
If you're wanting to take questions, can you've got about 2.5 minutes.
Thank you, Lino. Give the council ability to use enforcement, or sorry, but we just don't see that down there, however. Finally, 88 individuals, 5 organisations. So we've got 38% against 180 and 48 for. This is not a clear mandate to pass the preferred recommendation. A clear mandate is 900 residents wanting freedom camping banned in the car park. So where do we sit now? There's a solution. So no overnight parking from 12 till 6 as per Waimari. Trial period for 6 months. Also, as there are too many moving parts and developments yet to happen, leave all other decisions, read a car park, that is the status quo remains. Until phase 1 of the surf club is done, the new location of the coffee shed is established in play, Williams Court's built, Marine Parade craft update project is done, the beer garden development, Williams Court was built, said that, and monitor a trial for any knock-on effects for the flow-on effects down the Marine Parade. We need more time to see how the above impacts the space. This solution should not need to go out to consultation, as we bought the consultation free to you guys with the 900 signatures. The board already had a clear mandate. So finally, I believe if we do this together, we will achieve a desirable outcome with and for our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kim. We've got one quick question. Kelly was first on the list.
Yeah, thanks for that, Kim. That's quite clear. I'm just really interested in, obviously we've got 3 options before us. It sounds like none of them really suits what you're actually asking. I'm just interested in your view of if we were able to restrict parking 24 hours a day from 4 to 6 hours, or between 4 to 6 hours, would something like that be more acceptable to the residents? Because that would stop the overnight parking and would potentially allow a lot more time for people to park during the day when they're there for events. What are your thoughts on that?
So I don't quite understand. Can you just repeat that? I didn't quite get that.
Yeah. So, sorry, so that would be instead of a 180-minute, 3-hour
During the
parking
day.
restriction, 24 hours a day, would you consider something like 4 to 6 hours parking restriction, 24 hours a day, which would stop parking at night? Or would that be enough during the day?
I've got to do the maths in your head.
I think what we need to always go back to is that there are 900 residents that don't want anybody there overnight. It cannot be monitored. You know, it just can't be. Council don't have the resources, and I fully understand and appreciate. We don't want to make the council's job complicated. We don't want the residents to get stressed. Nice and simple and clear. No parking at night. And then let's just monitor and see what happens to that during the day. I mean, if freedom campers turn up at 7 in the morning, park all day, so can residents, or if they're using the beach. But if they start camping and getting their gear out and drying their washing and stuff, then that needs to be reported to council. We need to see how it goes so we can monitor it. It's just so important that this space is not rushed with a decision today for the whole car park, but you could implement something today that would help our residents with the immediate problem, which is overnight parking.
Thank you. We're out of time.
Question for Chair.
Yes.
It's the chief executive who has the authority to issue an overnight ban, not the port. Is that correct? Am I wrong?
The chief executive has the power to do temporary.
Yeah, which is what.
Yes.
What happened last time?
So it's not to clarify, right now as a board, we don't have the delegation to do it. So I just wanted that noted.
Yeah, and also whatever, you know, we have to adhere to both the bylaw and the Local Government Act and what we do. So as much as, and there are plenty of other times we may have wanted to do something, but we can't because that's what the law is. So even if the law is not very helpful, it's still the law. But with that in mind, we'll go to the next deputation. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I ask a process question?
You can ask a process question.
Will we be able to ask staff and the table just exactly what we are supposed to do?
So we'll be hearing from staff before we make any decision with your advice. So the final deputation on this matter is Lynn Hayes. All right, Lynn, thank you very much. And you have 5 minutes.
That one? Oh, yeah. Yep. Hi, hello everyone. I'm Lynn, obviously. North Beach Car Park. I think we should delay this owing to the following factors. North Beach Surf Club are having a rebuild. The relocation of the coffee shed, Williams Court build on Marine Parade, Bowhill Road, North Beach Beer Garden. I've got a rebuild as well, and they're opening a bar and including a bottle store. We're also got apartments upstairs and retail down below on the corner of Bowhill Marine Parade, where the Casbah, for those that are old enough, would have known where the Casbah was on that side. Yes. Events at the community hall. We have funerals, we have weddings, there's all sorts of things there. Surf life-saving events, which they have for the juniors. There's 200 juniors at the surf club. So by the time the parents and the grandparents and everyone else turn up. Surf life-saving patrols. Now they are voluntary, except maybe January or sometime, but majority of it is voluntary. So they're there from 10 or 11 till 5 or 6 in the afternoon. Now, a lot of search and rescue personnel who conduct a lot of lengthy searches are involved and leave out of North Beach, out of the surf club there. So the community board, you guys need to look at the 800 plus signatures and regarding the car park and the Freedom Campers, wait for an incoming community board, maybe. The previous CEO was able to offer, as you said, Paul, a temporary decision on 48 hours banning the thing. But then this was subsequently made permanent. So, yeah.
Right, Alex?
I just had a couple of questions. The first one was in relation to the Williams Court. Obviously, that's going to be quite a significant project. Council can't legally require developments to have car parks anymore.
Oh, no.
So I just might be a little bit in relation to the overall plan, but potentially not necessarily Freedom Camping itself. But would you agree that the 3-hour parking would help prevent
ridiculous.
Those housing? No, sorry, can I just ask my question?
Oh, sorry.
Would prevent the people that are in the Williams Court parking from parking there all day if it's 3 hours, which would ease the burden on the local people using those facilities. Freedom Camping aside,
No, I don't think it's a good idea at all.
Okay, thank you. And my other question was in relation to the surf lifesavers. Do you know how many volunteers there are? Because I'm trying to think about potentially whether or not we look at reserving some parks for the surf lifesaving club. Obviously, if we're looking at volunteer lifeguards, we don't want to be a barrier to them being able to protect our community. Do you know how many would be on a shift roughly?
About 6 to 10. However, you don't want to do separate parking for them. What we would like is freedom campers gone, really, at the end of the day.
Appreciate it.
Well, any further questions? No. All right. Oh, you want to move something? All right. We haven't heard from staff yet, but I've got.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. And so now we have Christina, staff.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, so I think we have Kathy and Steve as well. You're welcome to join us at the table.
Thanks, Brian. I need to grab another chair.
Yes, I know. Standing room only. You've heard what members of the community have said, and issues have been raised. You've had lots of questions from members. I guess you take the report as read and focus on answering the questions that have been raised or the issues that have been raised by members and staff. That'd be very helpful.
So the button? Okay. So we have sought some legal advice from our internal. Unfortunately, we cannot change any overnight parking restrictions that would come into a direct conflict with the Freedom Camping Bylaw. So all of the proposed parking restrictions currently are under the Traffic and Parking Bylaw 2017, not the Freedom Camping Bylaw 2021. Any changes to the Freedom Camping Bylaw has to go through the Chief Executive. Staff do not have delegation to do that. So I'll just start off with that and then take any questions.
So members, we need to focus on what we can do. So anything that can't be anything that conflicts with the Freedom Camping Bylaw. So it's the other law. So we have a certain amount of power, and only that, and mega power it is. All right. So I think it was Kelly first. All right, then Kelly, go.
Thanks for that. I wonder if you could just kind of clarify how what power we to stop extended stays overnight within our power.
Thanks. Sorry. So at this specific location, because there was already prohibitions for freedom campers between October and May, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
And it's ongoing?
Yeah, ongoing between those months. We cannot put anything in that would deter or take away freedom campers from this car park as it is zoned for freedom camping. So because it is zoned for freedom camping, we have to have provisions to allow for them to be there, and we cannot go against the freedom camping bylaw.
And my next question would just be, option B gives us the opportunity to implement 180 parking restrictions at all times in the car park, which would effectively counteract that.
So sorry, that was changed, getting legal advice. That's why it was, sorry, apologies, that was changed from being at all times to the 3 hour to then the P180. That's why that was changed, because there was that legal clash.
But just to be clear, there is virtually nothing we can do to stop overnight parking we can't put in restrictions for 3 hour parking overnight or 24 hours. And so we actually have no power to do anything like that.
Through the chair, at this point that is correct, but longer term, through review of the Freedom Camping Bylaw, there could be opportunities to make changes. But at this point in time, there is no other changes we can make.
So just to further clarify, we can put in restrictions during the day.
Correct.
But and not overnight and okay. So I think next was Gio and then all right, yeah.
Thank you. I was just interested in the short consultation period. A few years ago when council reviewed our policy for engaging with residents groups, they came up with an idea of 6 weeks being the sort of minimum time required for them to give good input. And when I said a time frame of 2 weeks, it seems very, very short, knowing how residents groups operate and, you know, meet once a month. They need time to receive it, talk to their members, produce the submission. Can you just help me understand why the conference time?
I just flick to Amy, our consultation room.
Good. Completely appreciate that. So we started our consultation by engaging with the groups that have amenities on the car park. So we spoke specifically with those who have premises or have permanent bookings at the community centre, the Surf Club, the North Way Board Riders, and Anna from the Coffee Shed. So we had those conversations first to help us form the plans, and then ideally we would have liked to go out for longer for that public consultation, but we wanted to hit this meeting because we thought it was important to get something or have the option to do something before summer. It's been the last meeting. They meant normally we'd go for 3 weekends, we just missed it the weekend, just for 2 weeks. Yeah, we did reach out to the residents group and offer to meet with them in person to hope to make it easier, because we do appreciate that it was a condensed time frame, but that option wasn't taken up.
So was there consideration given to having a special board meeting to get this resolved before the end of the term, or?
So on the 9th of July, there were 2 options that were presented to the board in an information and workshop setting. Coming out of that information and workshop setting, the board asked staff to come up with low cost alternatives that could be implemented before the summer period, therefore had to be for this meeting to be put in for the 2025-2026 period. So there was a preemptive workshop and information session, but staff were asked to change those proposed options from that on the 9th of July.
So we got what we asked for. I'm gonna
on that. Huh? On that. I just wanted to clarify, so what you're saying is that if we lie on the table, we won't be able to implement anything before summer.
Sorry.
Hold on. Let staff respond and then I'll go back to you.
Correct. So if we have to make any more changes or to proposals or go out and to consult, there would be, we couldn't get anything in before the summer period this year.
All right, thank you. Yana.
We've still got over a month of the board. So we've still got, 5 weeks. At the start of my question, maybe it's more for the governance team. Is there something that precludes us from having a special meeting before the end of the term to act on this, like if we needed more time?
It's going to take longer than that to do it.
It's not just us approving.
There's a whole bunch of other things going into it. I mean, we're getting the advice that it's not feasible, right? Right. So we've got quite a few questions. Jo.
Okay, so what is the difference between the other car parks along the beach and this one, which allows it to be restricted to a bylaw for freedom camping?
Broad Park.
Like Broad Park, New Brighton, South Brighton. Why is this car park different to those?
Through feedback of the community, through petitions to the chief executive, through asking of enacting for changes to be made, having issues with overflowing people parking for long term. So
no, but I'm talking about the freedom camping bylaw.
Oh, that's out of the scope of this report.
But it wasn't included when they did the bylaw. That car park was left out when the bylaw was put in place.
And I guess we can't, that the outcome of the bylaw was that it wasn't included. I don't think we don't know why.
The other clubs are not in the bylaw. So
people go feedback.
Yeah, so
that's what.
Okay.
I think the answer is we are where we are.
Yeah, and in regard to restricting freedom camping within that car park, can we actually restrict it down to only like 4 to 6 car parks and keep the rest of it open?
That would be something we would have to get back to you
on. Jackie.
My question's been answered, but just to clarify, if we were to lay this on the table today, how early do you think you can get it back to us? Because I'm looking, is this going to come back in February? In which case nothing will happen over the summer. That's my question. How soon would you be back?
With the proposed report?
With the proposed report, because if you have to reconcile.
It would be, if we didn't have to reconcile, it would be ASAP.
Right, but if we did have to consult on any changes, it would be next year.
As soon as possible, once the new board's formed.
Yeah, that's something members in our debate will have to weigh up. All right, so we had, I think we've got Alex now and then Greg.
No, my answers.
Right, thank you, Greg.
With the car park at the moment, is it full during the day from the same freedom campers overnight, do you know?
When the parking capacity for the Freedom campers at this location has been investigated, which is attached in attachment B, it was found that the car parking capacity overnight was never full, and during the day it's mainly between those peak hours and when we have community groups.
Is it the same people that are there multiple days? Do you know, do you have that information that they're multiple days, or they're just staying overnight and fresh batches coming in during the next day?
I would have to get more specifics on that, but I do believe that it does change. We find that Freedom campers often stay for 1 or 2 nights.
Through the chair, there is restricted how long.
Yes, 2 days.
Yes,
Great. And also, what are the latest and earliest times of the parking restrictions at the moment? It has 7 till 7. What is the earliest and latest? Because in like the CBD, for instance, there's different hours again. So what is the earliest and latest that those times would be put in?
The earliest we could do would be 7 a.m. and the latest that we could do would probably be 6 p.m. and that's just to keep them so that we're not clashing with the Freedom camping bylaw, which is from 7 p.m. to 7.
And the other one was the parking restrictions during the day. Obviously, as mentioned before, if someone parks there at 3 o'clock, they're parking there for 3 hours and then it goes into the next time frame. So it only starts from those times, it doesn't come outside of that. This would be relevant to the time they're staying in that space.
Sorry, could we?
So if you've got someone who turns up at overnight and they've already been there for 3 hours when it starts at that 7 a.m. period, have they already parked there for 3 hours and that 3 hour then amount of time is finished?
Through the chair, they wouldn't know.
It starts at that point, yes.
Yeah.
All right, any further questions, clarification? You have clarification to go.
Yeah, just with the Broad Park car park that we put the restrictions in for, was that highlighted in the bylaws as a Freedom camping area prior to that restriction?
Sorry, is that a specific question regarding the Freedom camping bylaw?
Yeah.
That is out of the scope of this report.
Yeah, but in regards to Broad Park, did that have the same bylaw restrictions?
So I just wanted to know is there a difference?
Yeah, because we've just changed that and Freedom campers were there because they were allowed to be there.
And they still are. There are 20 parks where they can't be, and there are 30 that they can still be, but that was using the traffic and parking bylaw, not using the Freedom camping
So
bylaw.
we use that bylaw to actually make alterations in this car park?
No, because that would be going against the Freedom camping bylaw if we did the same thing.
So this is bylaw.
Oh, the Freedom, yes, but Broad Park is also zoned in the coastal Freedom camping zone as well.
This direction.
Sorry, and that delegation does have to come from the chief executive.
Okay, that's the answer I was after.
Sorry, I got there in the end.
So hold on a second, I'm just mindful that not everybody, that Celisa's put her hand up, and she hasn't had a chance to ask a question of start yet, so I go to Celeste.
I think it was just a point of clarification because, like with the Broad Park, it's around Freedom camping parking.
Yeah.
There is, as was.
Push your button.
That's great. So it's a similar situation up there, but the issue for an overnight noise issue.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to change the bylaw,
yeah,
we as a board agreed to go through the parking because that was the most pragmatic approach.
Yeah.
So we put forward 2 options looking at North Beach and Broad Park.
Yeah.
Broad Park's been successful, but the issue was overnight. Here it's daytime.
Yeah.
So effectively we're using the same tools, but we're just tweaking it slightly. Is that because
It's similar tools, but it is hard because it has the freedom camping bylaw is on this part. It means that we can't use the traffic and parking bylaw because they clash.
So in this case, the freedom camping rules are different to the other section, which is why the ability is different.
Yeah, and that is why there's a specific area in the freedom camping bylaw that does prohibit North Beach Park over the summer periods on the weekend.
All right, I think if there's, we kind of traversed, stress. Have you asked any questions? No, okay, yeah.
I just wanted to clarify, obviously one of the concerns, or quite a lot of the concerns that some residents have is in relation to the surf club. In relation to the proposal that's currently in front of us, the staff recommendation, is it likely that we could reserve parking for the surf club / surf lifesavers in particular, so they can access, you know, so they can still come and park, and, you know, not be towed for doing a service to our community?
In this case, when you're looking at the North Beach car park, Marine Parade has no parking restrictions and a large abundance of parking. So if you were to reserve those parks, then that would reduce the car parking capacity for the car park. It would be a very different leasing process. I don't know what that would look like. That's a different department, but also some of those parks would, I mean, there's a new build on the surf club. Would they be on that land? It's quite different, and the surf club's on parks land in this, so it's separate.
So through a motion, would it be possible, and I'm not suggesting a motion now, I'm just wondering, I guess this might be a question for you, it might be a question for the governance team, I'm not too sure, to have an amendment to approve, I don't know, a lease for some of the car parks now with a time frame on it that, you know, once the surf club's been built, we can come back and talk about it again. So what I don't want is when that surf club's when that car park's really busy, and it's summer and it's Marine Parade, now surf lifesavers wanting to come and travel and look after our community, not being able to find a park, we're having to walk to find the park. So what options do we have there that can ring fence car parks to those volunteers essentially?
Yeah, through the chair, what would be best for us to do would be to get some advice from our property and leasing team and just get back to you with that advice on how you proceed with that type of request.
So there's no way through a motion today, so effectively we have to.
Alex, what you could.
Well, I wanted to clarify further, sorry, JD, if I could make a question.
What you can do, because I'm answering the question.
Yeah.
What you can do is add a provision to the motion that says staff to report back on.
No, I acknowledge that, but if the finding's not success, if the finding says that we can't do that, then effectively we move to motion where we're restricting our surf lifesavers from being able to park in summer. That's my concern.
Yeah, well, that's the part of the difficulty of this decision. All right, I think we've kind of exhausted this. Sorry, I think we've kind of exhausted this, and bearing in mind we have a very heavy agenda, I'm going to go on into questions now, and ask if we start, if you can just be on hand to asking the questions that might arise. But I believe that because Celeste has hand up twice wanting to move something, Celeste.
Yes, I've just seen it circulated.
It's on email. All right. Well, do you want to read it out for the benefit of the community?
Has it changed from earlier? No, so it's quite long.
Okay. Well, in that case, can we put it up on the
Cindy.
So can you just point to what the changes to what the staff recommendation is?
So key changes I think are in yellow. So you've got through 60 minutes, so that's 6 hours. And my maths is correct on that. Along the side of the road, which is there's quite a bit of feedback around safety along there. So yellow lines, but 4 spaces for a maximum of 30 minutes. A lot of people get feedback. Stop and go with 20 minutes. But actually look at it as a trial.
I'm not giving you.
Sorry,
I just want to clarify something up there.
Yeah.
I don't think it's possible to have the yellow line as part of the motion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that staff advice?
Yeah, why not?
Is it able to be put that motion with the yellow lines?
Through the chair, I think the difficulty there is it's not something we've consulted on. Changes to the hours of parking are sort of within the general parameters of what we've consulted on, and you as a decision makers are arguing one way or the other. But adding something completely new or removing what I said is a bit different.
So could we maybe adjust that so it's just 30
Delete that.
minutes?
Yeah, just take that out.
And then advice back on that, maybe after, because this is a trial.
You can add that to your motion.
Yeah. So then moving on to.
So just so we are consistent, so instead of noting that, what will you want in?
It's request us to report back on that
and that would move down to number 10, which is all this stuff.
we can make it 7A.
Yeah.
You can make it 7A, just to make it.
That's fine. Yeah, I reckon so.
Could I ask you?
Hold on a second. We just,
Yeah,
so we'll get through the motion and then we'll see if we have a seconder. This is quite a complex one. And then if we have a seconder, then we can, before we go any further than that, we proceed to question.
Can I just on the timing on the 36, is there any clash with the freedom camping bylaw with it being for so long? So I've just got Libby, helping as well. So do you have any advice on that from your perspective? So 6 hours and how that kind of aligns with what we can do under freedom camping?
Having a parking restriction of 6 hours is really hard to monitor. If effectively you might have your beat patrol then going out once in the cycle, and then potentially they wouldn't come back and be able to ticket those people. So in terms of actually having effectiveness and turnover and being able to have the usability of that car park, 6 hours might be a little bit too long, because you may find that people will just park there all day, and because of our enforcement and the patrols, they would potentially may not have the desired effect. Yeah.
But it's legal.
We'll get through this motion. We'll come.
Oh, and also the freedom campers would also be allowed to park for 6 hours.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's technically legal.
It's able to be put, yes.
Okay.
So just to clarify, Stephen and Tina, are you happy with 7A there? If you were to receive that as an action, you know what you're looking at?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Right, keep going through.
Up to 10. So in response to Alex's question around the surf club, looking at, because we can't do resolve to anything today, but I think it's a good question, looking at doing it as part of their lease, because it would have to be resolved through a separate process anyway, so that makes sense. Sorry. Let me just run through it. Doesn't necessarily. So we can put that. And then just advice on the entrance. There's about, I don't know, there's heaps of things in each way. Everyone said it's a problem. Ultimately, we need to look at doing something about that, but we need budget. I don't think at the moment. Giving advice. People also go there because out of pedestrian crossing. We don't budget, but it does need to be looked at. The preschool go feedback on that. And then finally, looking at the overnight, which would actually have probably be through the bylaw based on staff advice today. That be correct? Point C, because
yeah, so
we can't resolve to it today, which staff advice is that we, as part of this process, can then get further information. So this,
I think we want him to request staff advice regarding amending the bylaw.
Yeah, so that I sent that updated reading through, but I wasn't sure in that.
So the other thing I need is that I just by Chris, I've received the advice that 360 would be.
It still clashes.
It still clashes with the bylaw. So I'm 300.
300.
Yeah.
And it's hard to know because
the issue becomes the overnight between. But if it's 7 PM and 7 AM, so you could do 6 hours. You have to make it clear that the 6 hours only runs between a certain period of time.
Yeah. So you
can start 6 hours from 6 PM.
Right, yeah.
So you could say 360. Can we have one conversation, please, members? Hold on, like, we need to. You could have 360 minutes from 7 to 7.
Sorry, that's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah, so do you want to change your motion so it says that? 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
You kind of have that in your next sentence, actually, this restriction is still between 7 a.m. 7 p.m. I'm not sure that you can do Monday.
Sorry, can I suggest that we just adjourn for 5 minutes and that you guys would work out and come up with the finalized version?
Yeah.
This is like, yeah.
Is there something you would like to be doing?
We're going to close the windows.
Actually, that's quite condescending. I just thought, like, out of respect for the people that are here, like, come up with the thing, get it sorted, and then come back.
It's just that we need staff advice and the input of members. And there's like multiple people who are wanting to feed into this, councillor Hanson.
Yeah, but for those of us who are keen to wait to see what the finalised one is, we're just sitting there waiting.
So-
Why don't the people that are interested to come up with the amendments, get together with staff, come up with the agreed amendments, and then come back to us?
We're pretty much there.
But I think we're almost ready for a motion to be put. Yes, I agree that it hasn't been the tidiest, but it's reasonably complex and we need to be ahead.
And I also put in amendments that
So.
that I'm not agreeing with
Well,
what this is, but
So
I
if
did have an
this,
amendment that I would have liked to.
so this motion is currently being worked through, then if we have a seconder, it will become then if that fails, then you have a chance of putting something else through. So you're foreshadowing an amended motion, is that correct? All right. So have we amended this? So that wording is okay? Have we done the bit about the bylaw? The requests of provide advice on amending the bylaw.
So the
freedom
chief
camping
executive has already given advice to amending the freedom camping bylaw. We've already had that advice in a memo.
Okay, well, that way, and
then there's a bylaw review, which the process or the program for all of the bylaw review should be, you should have that advice early next year.
Okay.
So that will tell you when it's going to be programmed and happened, and the chief executive has provided a deadline of reviewing.
Advice on bringing forward the bylaw review to this.
On bringing forward the bylaw.
To recommend that.
The chief executive, the chair did advise on that and has declined to exercise the power to do that.
Sorry, it's like, see advice and it's, sorry.
So it was attached in a response to the petition. And then in response to the petition, the chief executive has declined to exercise the power to temporarily close an area for freedom.
So that's temporary, this is a.
And then or to direct staff to progress a permanent amendment to the freedom camping bylaw.
All right, we can ask again. All right, so. Point of order, yes.
Clarification.
Clarification is different, but yeah.
Okay, well, sorry, my bad. Theoretically, just process question for Chris, the councillor can issue a notice of motion to direct, like, it counts as to request a, bylaw be brought forward to hearing. So that's,
You can, but the chief executive is discretion of whether the process of motion goes ahead or not.
So I think you've had your answer there. So this has been moved by Celeste. Do we have a seconder of this motion?
Yeah, I was thinking that just.
Okay, do we have a second?
No, we're not.
Sorry, quiet in the public gallery. I appreciate this is strongly felt, but this is the democratic process. So here we have this. This has been moved. So if anybody wanted to amend this, now would be the time. But do you want to speak to it?
Sure. I think there was.
Well, there's no question. This is debate. We've had our questions.
So effectively, this is similar to the North Beach car park, the Broad Park car park. What we've discovered through the process and we've seen today that the bylaw, the freedom camping bylaw doesn't allow us to do certain things. And it specifically excludes us doing anything during the daytime. which is one of the challenges. All we can do is adjust the traffic bylaws. So this would be effectively as a trial, much like Broad Park 1. If it doesn't work, like the Broad Park 1 was done on the basis that if it doesn't solve the problem, we don't go ahead with it. But unfortunately, our options are do nothing, so that's status quo. So that means nothing will change over the summer, or go with the staff recommendations. So this is about taking on board resident feedback through the submission process, which was specific to this particular proposal, and trying to find the best compromise. So because it is a trial, therefore, if the feedback from all the stakeholders, which have spoken today, and within the wider community, is that it doesn't work, then we can simply go back to the status quo while we work on the longer term changes through the bylaw, changes that would address some of the other concerns around freedom coming in the wider area. So ultimately, this just attempting to be pragmatic and going, the board unanimously asked for something that was low cost so we could support communities over the summer when we know there's going to be a peak. Let's give it a go, and if it doesn't work, then try something else.
Do we have anyone else wishing to speak? Kelly?
Yeah, look, it's very difficult to please everybody in these situations, and there are many aspects of this whole plan that I don't like. I really do not like the parking on the street, the 5 minute, 10 minute, 30 minute parking. I applaud Councillor Donovan's efforts to come up with a good compromise, but I can just see lots of problems here in terms of traffic flow when people are coming out of the car park, potentially crossing the footpath / cycleway, and then having parked cars to deal with. I've biked this many times, and having car doors opening on that section as well, that bothers me. So I think Councillor Donovan, you've made a really good attempt to try and placate a lot of people. I'm still vacillating here. My preference is actually to look at option C, which is to do nothing, because we currently have freedom camping restrictions in place. There is so much development to go on here, probably over the next year or so. I think things will change, and I think that will be the time to do something. So, yeah, a bit conflicted here. And I've thought it's a bit of a dog's breakfast, to be honest, from the get-go. No disrespect to staff who always present a lot of options. So, yeah, that's all I've got to say.
Jackie, and then Joe, and then Alec.
But I mean, I seconded this because we need to actually broaden the conversation as opposed to just sitting and doing nothing. What we have before us, we cannot ban freedom camping in the car park as the bylaw stands, so we cannot prevent anyone from being there overnight. If we don't pass anything today and we put it on the table to come back at a later date, then we may see something come back before Christmas. But I'd say it is more likely that we'd end up with a status quo going right over the summer period, which isn't going to be helpful. So what I'm looking at, is it possible, that we put something like this in over the summer to give you some relief, or leave it as it is and do nothing for the whole summer? Is that the preference? That's my question. So it's like we need to have some form of compromise. So if you don't want anything done today, that's, we can easily put that through, so long as everyone is aware that it may not be back before us before February.
Thank you, Jackie. Joe?
Yeah, I can't support time restrictions. I've had a lot of meetings with this community going back before Christmas, and we actually requested meetings with staff and with other representatives several times, and we never got those meetings. And I think if we had that communication right from the start, then we would be in a better position today. Going back to the trying to, as Kelly said, do nothing at this stage, but is there a possibility that we could actually just lay it on the table and restrict freedom camping into like about 4 to 6 car parks?
So laying on the table is procedural motion. So if somebody was to move that, then we would have to debate that.
But at the same time, just asking staff if we did lay it on the table, is there the possibility of just restricting it to a minimum of car parks?
We would have to go and seek legal advice for that.
Can it be done?
But no, not before the summer period.
Yeah, so just, yeah, no, sorry, I forgot that you had a process question, go.
Yeah, if we did lay it on the table, is it forced to come back to the next meeting that we did?
Well, my understanding is that when you lay something on the table, it comes back at the next meeting, it stays on the agenda. That doesn't mean we couldn't lie it on the table again.
Point of order.
Yeah.
That's not correct. If you're laying something on the table, you can choose a date for it to come back. If you're in a journey.
Well, no, because it stays on the agenda.
We've laid things on the table before that haven't come back yet. We laid Chelsea's first on the table, that's not coming back until later.
You defined when it would come back.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So we would have to define when it comes back. Yeah. So if you don't pick a date, and so bearing in mind this is the final decision-making meeting until the new board meets, and you don't know what that's going to be, that's the risk. So as I said, if somebody was to make a point of order and move a procedural motion to lay on the table, we would have to debate that. Madam Deputy Chair.
We'll make a procedural motion to lie on the table, please.
You can, would anybody like to second that? Seconded by Kelly. Well, in that case, Jackie, would you like to speak to that?
I don't think that we have a satisfactory solution to this today, right? We're looking for a compromise. I don't believe there is one. Right? We cannot abandon things overnight, so we can't give the community what they're asking for. Everybody's here has been very clear on the time frame. You know, not wanting any restrictions. My concern is that if we lay it on the table, it won't be back. You know, it's not, the next board meeting is not October, the next board meeting will be in December. And it may not allow enough time to put things in place. That is my concern. But given the what I've heard from submitters today and what I've read, I think the best thing that we can do is actually lay it on the table. Until we actually have some serious concrete plans of what we're going to do, right? And it's like, if we're kind of there's no point in coming back in December if we do not have a result that we can actually implement.
I mean, this, yeah, so I'll continue. I'll continue through the debate. So Greg and then Joe. And then Alex.
Point of order. Procedural motion takes precedent over debate.
No, we're debating the motion.
To lay it on the table.
Yes. Yes, so your interpretation of outstanding was is correct. Correct.
But also want to clarify, we've finished the first part of the debate now.
No, we've interrupted the first part of the debate.
So, no, that's right. We're going to add to the first one, so yeah. I'll leave
it. Which was Joe and then Yanni.
I'm thinking that we lay it on the table until after the freedom camping bylaw decision.
No, it has to be a date.
And to tie in with the surf club redevelopment, because the car parking reconfiguration, we should have a discussion to tie in with them.
I think that's that. I don't think that is a lay on table. That's okay. Yeah. So Yanni, speaking to the procedural.
Can I just ask you a question? So, question of clarification on the comment that was made. Is there anything that stops the chair and the deputy chair from requesting a meeting before the election? I heard that if we don't do it today, that we can't do it until the new term. But my understanding is up until the time that the board ceases to be in effect, we can have a special meeting.
For the chair, I guess you could ask for another meeting. But I guess what you need to factor into that is what do you want to see come back to that meeting? So if you're asking for more advice, consultation, is it even feasible to do that for a next meeting? So it's not just about picking a date for a meeting, it's making sure you have what's required in And I don't want to speak too much, but I could say something else through the chat.
Yes.
Just on the motion to lay it on the table, you either need to pick a date it comes back or a trigger to bring it back. But for some of the things that I'm kind of hearing and consulting with others on is you're potentially going more down a path of doing nothing, which that doesn't preclude in future another report coming when some of those other triggers that you're talking about. So rather than you laying it on the table, you're more, to me, sounding like going down a do nothing pathway. Then perhaps if you're looking for surf club or freedom camping bylaw review, which you don't have a fixed date for that, once those things are taken care of, then perhaps that's.
Yeah, okay, now, I will admit, at this point, it is good idea to return this meeting. Apologies to the public. We'll try and iron this out without everybody having to be quiet. All right, thank you. quite, and I think with not just us, but everybody, there's quite a lively discussion about this. I guess, so the situation we're in is we have a motion on the table that's been seconded. We're debating the procedural motion to leave it to lie on the table. So this is my view as the chair in terms of the procedure. Leaving it on the table, we have a decision to try and do something, or the decision to decline the motions. It's still being debated, but there's no it's not realistic to think that we're going to be able to solve this very complex and vexed issue with in a few weeks before summer. So we either need to leave it to the status quo and wait, and to be honest, if there is going to be changes, the one will be next summer that they take effect, the changes to free and camping bylaw. So that's the do nothing option. And the other option is to put in place some restrictions that, while not ideal, try to improve things slightly. And there is no decision that is going to make everybody 100% happy. So if we can get a change that makes most people not as unhappy as they would have been, I think that will be a good place. But because we have the procedural motion on the table, so this is me speaking to the procedural motion essentially. And I think I'm going to vote against the procedural motion to leave it to lie on the table. So I'm going to put that in a second, and if that passes, then it will be laid on the table. But my view is, after having talked to staff and thought about it, that is basically doing nothing. So I'm going to put that. All those in favour to laying it on the table, say aye. Aye. Against? No. Okay, that motion has failed. So now we come back to the substantive, which is Celeste's motion. There is still time to amend that motion because we're interrupted by the procedural motion. Are there any amendments? Kelly?
Just gonna ask the mover whether she would consider taking out the 4 spaces for a period of 30 minutes from. Yeah.
Okay, so that's by agreement. Are you happy with that, Jackie, as seconder?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
we're going to remove the.
I just need to get back to status quo for that.
Yeah.
Status quo. Not 10 minutes, is it? That's the. That means people can park along there. Are you happy with that? Because the challenge with that is Williams Court residents will likely park along there.
So that's the minimum of 4 spaces.
Yeah, okay. But the advice is still coming back on the yellow line. So should we keep it?
1 second.
Yeah, this is one thing at a time.
Sorry, just checking.
So, Kelly, your amendment, can you just clarify that it's been accepted?
Please to remove the time restriction from the parking.
So delete 7 altogether.
So that's to delete 7?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, yeah.
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 So remove 7.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so that's by agreement. That is a substantive by agreement, and so that's the motion that we'll be debating.
Can I just check with 10A? So that's the lines remain the case, that needs to come out. Can we just, not remove that, keep that in, but just say and installing? Because then we can look at what the options would be down the track. Yep. So then it's a staged approach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. That's the substantive. Now, is this what are you raising?
Well, just in terms of the additional work that's going to happen, I just was curious to know if there's any work happening on the wider issue of parking in the area and land use planning, because it seems to me that the hub of the problem is actually the issues of unconstrained land use planning that's not taking into account the impact.
So
we're
at Christchurch NZ, so I'm just slightly straying outside the scope. But Steve,
yeah, through the chair, we are aware of the issues in the area, and we are aware that they are going to get bigger as more of those multi-use developments take off. we will be reviewing that. We will be doing parking surveys and looking at other measures to try and manage parking in the wider area. And that is something we will work with you as the board on in the future. Just in addition to that, parking changes aren't fixed in stone. If decisions are made today or in 6 months' time, there's nothing stopping us coming back 6 months later with another set of changes. Part of any parking management plan would always be to be adaptive, to adapt to change in the area, and we want to be able to do that. So whatever gets approved or not today, nothing's necessarily fixed. Neither will it be in a couple of years' time once this area gets a lot busier.
And just the works that are happening as part of the craft project, how disruptive will they be to this trial period that's been put forward?
Excuse me. Through the chair, I don't think that the craft works are going to really affect. This is my views, not based on evidence, but I don't think the craft works are going to significantly affect the car park turnover in that car park. People will be visiting that car park because they want to visit it, and they're not going to be put off by.
Oh, sorry. Just if you look at the time frame for the trial,
yeah,
and it will be a correct project that's going to have significant disruption to the roading network adjacent to this. I'm just trying to understand if that's going to disrupt. Obviously, there'll be significant construction happening.
Yeah, that is a good point through the chair. I don't know what the traffic management plans will look like. What you could consider as a board is extending that trial if you wanted to, or as another option. Sorry to be awkward and probably talking a little bit out of turn. Does it need to be a trial, or do you say you want staff to come back and report on how this is operating in 6 months' time? Based on that, you could then give us further direction to either leave it as it is or to come back with other options.
I'll listen.
Yeah, I think going back, so I think my thing is, I think given the level of the mixed feelings in the community, having it as a trial, I think is essential so that there's confidence that we don't, you know, that if it does pass, it isn't going to just default into continuing. So now I think we need to, is this a question for staff? Okay.
There's a potential change in the car park design. Do you know when that is likely to be brought back to the board?
More detailed options.
Oh, is it the more detailed option that was brought in July? That would have to have a separate budget put up for those to be implemented, but they could be brought back.
So there's no plans as yet.
Okay.
So this is the concept.
Yes.
The answer is that. Is this a question of staff?
Can I just speak to that one? Sorry, that question, which is a good one, is part of one of the amendments at the bottom. So staff advice coming back just needs to be clear that it includes the proposed redesign change. So, because it says here the entrance and exit.
Well, that's implicit then. Yeah.
But can that just be clear? Does that clear from that? Yeah.
Okay. Is this? Yeah. What's this?
Question for staff.
Okay, this is going to be the last question, and then we're going to debate it as a substantive.
Sorry, I think we actually need to stop because there are two numbers there. There's 360 minutes, and then if you look at 6, there's 180 minutes on the same.
Okay, well that needs to change to 360.
Yeah. I just wanted to ask a quick question. Obviously, when we talked about the numbers from the parking survey, there was a bit of a sigh from the audience. I was just wondering, as part of this, without changing the amendment, but as part of this, would there potentially be able to, a little bit more detailed in terms of that surveying, potentially more than what would normally be done due to the significance of it locally?
I think through the chair, as we've done with other parking trials recently, I think we've just done one in near Hospital Corner. We've actually asked for that trial period to be extended so we can do further monitoring and counting. What we'd do here is, if it was approved as a trial, we'll do more data collection between now and when we need to come back to you for a decision. And that will hopefully, at that stage, give you the information you need to make a decision longer term.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. So now we're going to debate the substantive. We do have other items on the agenda. So that's been. I mean, I think it's pretty clear that people express where they stand. I stand So Celeste already spoken. Is there, does anybody wish to speak against the motion? Joe?
Yeah, I can't support time restrictions and just wasting money on something that the community don't want. I think it needs to come back with a proper solution, one that the community wants, and then we invest some money into it.
Right.
Well, I just want to object to the words and have that noted.
Which words?
Waste of money, the community don't want it.
You're always welcome to have words noted. Although I wouldn't encourage members to do it frequently. All right, Greg.
Sorry, just to clarify, if you want this objective to the word.
Waste of money. That's fine, thank you.
Greg.
For me, I'll be voting against it, and the reason for that is there was no clear directive from the community through the consultation period. There's less than 50% of the respondents that have said this is what we want. We had a very similar thing on Rembray with the craft project, and we went back and another solution was found. For me, looking at the concept plan for the car park as a way forward would be something that would be making more sense. So that would be part of the reason why I wouldn't be voting for it. We said before that nothing would change going forward, and part of the reason that something will change over the summer months compared to winter months is from Friday to Sunday there is no overnight parking for freedom campers. We really want to push to make sure that that's followed up on, and the compliance is monitored a lot more closely to make sure that those spaces are available through those nights, because a lot of people are staying there at times still. While it's better, they're still staying there throughout the night and the day over those periods. So, yeah.
Does anyone else wish to speak? So Celeste, you have your right of reply. Have you spoken already on this? Yeah. So you go last, yes. Alex.
I just wanted to read out for both people listening at home and everyone in the meeting the petition wording that was actually presented to the hundreds of people that signed. So it was a petition calling for the Christchurch City Council Chief Executive to place a temporary ban on freedom camping in the North Beach foreshore car park till the bylaw can be changed and a permanent ban can be enforced. So I've heard quite a lot of people talk about it being at night, but to be perfectly honest, what I've got in front of me, which is what people have signed, is calling for action on freedom camping. And by doing this action during the day, we help to prevent that. 6 hours is a very, very long time, and it's 6 hours from 7 a.m. till 7 p.m. So if you're starting to park up at 6 a.m., it's not 6 hours, it's 6 hours from the 7 point. We've also got a really significant development going in across the road, which council cannot legally require the developer to put car parks in. That's a government statute. So this will help relieve the burden on people that are wanting to go to the beach and experience it, because there won't be residents that are living across the road parking in it all day. We've been asked by the community to do something, and I understand there is pretty significant depths of feeling here. But from my perspective, I mean, Celeste actually raised it before. Right now, the chief executive has declined what we probably all wanted to see. If this doesn't work, we have more of a reason to go to the chief executive and get the overnight trial approved. It seems like a no-brainer to me. We can't make everyone happy, but at least we can do something to allow our beachgoers access to the beach.
Right. So if there's another person who wants to speak against, I'll take that. Otherwise, I'll go to Celeste for a right of reply. So you've only got 1 minute for right of reply.
I mean, this is very similar, like you said, to the craft project. We are trying to balance out a range of needs. The feedback was quite diverse. There was safety, there was access during the day, there was issues around freedom camping, which is a wide issue around rubbish and enforcement. There's a whole bunch of things in there, and this isn't going to tackle all of those issues, but it's about collecting information and actually better understanding how we can tackle the problem. And the great thing about a trial is if it doesn't work, you don't go ahead with it. In terms of it costing a lot, well, the board park pile was pretty straightforward. They chucked up a couple of signs. I don't think that cost a lot. They got feedback from the residents. At the end of that process, we were able to make a call. At the moment, you're right, we don't have enough information, but I think the best way to get more information is actually through a process where we collect feedback as part of a trial. So into this process, which is only 12 weeks through a busy period of summer, we can work with all the key stakeholders and say, is this working? If not, what needs to change? And if this isn't the right approach, we can go back, like we've already heard, and go back to the chief executive and say, this isn't actually the right approach. Now we need to look at the bylaws so we have the evidence base that we've been told we don't currently have. So I think this is just about being pragmatic, doing something rather than kicking the can, which is easy to do, and it is a bit of a safe option, but sometimes we've got to be a bit brave and give things a go and see how it lands.
All right, thank you, Celeste. So I'll put that now. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against?
Division, I go for division.
Division. All right. All right,
Bear with me for 1 second.
just bear with.
Okay. Paul?
All right, so those in favour, raise your hands and say aye. Aye.
Okay, so that's Paul, Jackie, Tim, Billy, Johnny, and Greg and Joe again.
Yeah, Greg and Joe, yes. All right.
Would you both like your vote recorded?
Yes, it's safe.
Yeah, because it's.
That's very true.
Okay, that is carried. Thank you to members of the public. I know that it's not ideal, but things seldom are. So we will now, since we've had our wonderful adjournment, we'll move on to deputations regarding item number 13, which is Cypress Gardens. So we have Will Bartlett on behalf of the skaters. Will, are you here?
Yes. Yes, we've got Damien as well.
Will and Damien. All right. You guys have 5 minutes to.
We're going to talk about South Brighton as well. It's skate related. Is it worth putting that in the same?
You've got 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
All right. Yeah. It's So I do understand. I do believe that Councillor Johansson has a proposed solution or a medium-term solution for the issue around Cypress Garden. So I'll make sure that he can ask about that. But if you would like to give us a few minutes of your views on both of those things, then? Yep.
Great.
Go for it.
We got a presentation, I believe.
1 second.
That's all good. Well, I'm Will Bartlett. I'm resident of Christchurch for 10 years now. Been skateboarding for 23 years and lived on this side of town for the majority of that time. And then I've got Damien with me as well.
Yeah, I'm Damien Doyle, local resident. My accent can't hide. I'm another ex-English guy, but identify as a Kiwi very much. Yeah, got a house down the road, a young family. Again, very passionate skateboarder. I've been fortunate enough to make my passion into a profession. I own and run 44 Ramps, which is a Christchurch-based skate ramp and pump track design and build company. I'm not here to pitch for work. I'm here to support Will and the Christchurch Skateboard Association. And just as a potential conflict, I am hoping to be engaged by council staff for some of these projects. That would be a dream outcome for me to be able to work in my local community, and I feel like I can benefit it. But mainly here to support the agenda that Will wants to bring up.
So our purpose is mainly just to help you guys make informed decision, give staff advice, and engage with our local community and make sure everyone's getting a good compromise. So why are two middle-aged guys here talking to skate ramps? Damien kindly remind me I'm middle-aged now. Yeah, they're just for kids, aren't they? But we're here to talk, here to positively work with you, the board and the CCC staff, utilise the knowledge, insights and community connections and industry experience. Average person may see skate ramps as being a kid's play space, but stretch a little deeper and they're a delicate balance of users and levels of facilities where all ages and levels are expected to coexist harmoniously on the same playing field.
So out of all the sports facilities, only skate parks are managed in the same department and in the same way as kids' playgrounds. They're not treated as specialist sports grounds like rugby fields and netball courts are. To use the traditional sport analogy, it's like asking the All Blacks rugby team to run around and train and play games on the same pitch as a community under 8s tag rugby team. The two just don't coexist in the same space and you get clashes. And we're seeing that skateboarding and skate parks and the facilities are being treated in the same way. So what we ask is that there's a separation and a consideration for the end user's needs.
I think we can go next slide.
And to that point, we came up with this slide that we're trying to balance in these spaces all of the people that you see on there. And you can see, hopefully it illustrates how difficult that can be. You're trying to cater towards parents and tiny young kids who use the place as a slide often. Little kids on scooters and trikes. And then I guess the people we're representing in the Skate Association is more the bottom end. You've got a group of young teens and young people there through to Olympic aspiring athletes. Skateboarding is now an Olympic sport. And with that comes national governing bodies, of which I actually sit on the Skateboarding New Zealand board. So trying to represent facilities that can see people progress from grassroots level through to future Olympians.
You haven't got very much longer.
Next slide, please.
Yeah.
Our concerns are there's not enough budget for a replacement ramp of comparable usable design, losing a significant ramp for the Ryder Christchurch skatebike users, balancing the loss of the Bromley ramp by incorporating a similar ramp when the nearby Linwood Park skate park reviews won't occur, and the overall budget isn't balanced between the ramp renewal and the pump track upgrade. But we hopefully can produce solutions. If the new ramp design and build being a comparable nature in terms of scale and budget, a feeling the ramp being renewed, upgraded rather than downgraded, genuine ongoing consultation between our association and project staff regarding the new facility, consideration for renovation of the current ramp rather than its demolition, evaluating the size of the pump track upgrade and skate park renewal, and working with a local company to deliver the best ramp quality value and to meet end users' requirements. Next slide, please. So we did a bit of background investigation. Refurbing the original ramp could be 7 to 10K costs. There's a company in Auckland that specialise in this. And then you could convince everyone that a smaller, beginner and intermediate ramp could be a good addition. Number two, build a ramp that is so epic that no one cares that you're demolishing the big one. In a nutshell, that's it. If we go next slide, there's a couple of concepts that Damien kindly worked on.
So I applied these pro bono just to get the conversation going about what are the potential upgrades or similar ramps that could be provided. With the suggested renovation of the existing ramp, you could lose that. Well, you're catering to the advanced group, so they'd be satisfied with obtaining the existing ramp if it was to be suitable. And then you could do a beginner ramp like this. If you go to the next slide, this is a more intermediate version where you've got separate beginners ramp and different levels. And then you've got on the next slide, please, kind of the all singing, all dancing ramp, which, as Will said, no one would care if the old Bromley ramp gone because this is worthy of its replacement. The struggle here is you'd need more budget for this. So we're hoping that staff can do that. I'm willing to do everything I can as a contractor if I was given the job to do the most ramp for the budget. And I guess in summary, the ideal outcome for the association would be for this project to be given the go ahead. We're not asking for it to be paused. We don't want a big debate like has happened before. Hopefully this is an easy one. We don't want to come back in February to this again. Yeah, we think what the staff have done is great. We just think there's room for more feedback and working closely with the end users.
So at this point, yeah, you want to suggest your idea?
Oh, yeah, I had some questions of staff as well, which might help inform it. But so effectively, it's to leave the existing ramp in place
until there's a.
We're currently doing a feasibility study around the ramp as well as a city. Yeah. And we were reviewing the skateboarding strategy on that folder to know where that is. So I was hoping to check in with staff and find out what's happening with it. So yeah, I mean that to me seems a sensible way forward. don't want to delay it, but I think we do need to get a bit of clarity around the options that the deputation is making around just what the ballpark budget, not specific budget, but just to get a sense of, you know, what we might want to do where.
Yeah, or we can get advice from staff when they come to the table. Thank you. We're, do you want to talk about the other matter as well? The
South Brighton.
South Brighton, yeah.
I suppose the main one is that one of the guys that was going to talk about it had to leave, and one of his main points was that they've built a load of stuff there themselves, and they've invested quite a bit of money into having stuff that they can enjoy. And then all of a sudden there was no escape facilities regarding there was going to be pump tracks. And then luckily this man was designing the pump tracks, kindly alluded that there were some skate elements that were going to be missing. So subsequently have been designed in after the fact. I suppose it's just having the clear consultation with the right people who can give good advice.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I think we'll over 5 minutes, so we'll have to get talk to staff about the cypress garden, and it seems like there's really good opportunity to get an even better outcome than what we would have otherwise. So if you would like to take your seat back in public gallery, and I promise you it's not going to take as long as the last one.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Sorry, could we just get a sense of the cost?
Oh, sorry, we have another deputation. Sorry, Barbara. We have Raya here from Bromley. Thanks.
My wife's watching and she can't see me.
Did you overpromise on the bill? Raya.
Hello. For those who don't know me, I'm Raya, the Centre Coordinator at the Bromley Community Centre. We fully support the renewal of the skate ramp and the change of location. Over the past few years, we've heard a clear and heartfelt message from the community children that they want a skate ramp that they can actually use. Not one built for extreme tricks and professional skaters, but one that welcomes beginners, builds confidence and brings joy to everyday play. The current ramp, while impressive in design, has become more of a monument than a meeting place. It's really used, and for many children it's just too intimidating. I'm excited to see the upgrade where a child-friendly skate ramp designed with safety, accessibility and fun is at its core. A space where children of all ages can learn, grow and laugh. We're also very excited to see a new nature play garden in the plan, a space to invite children to explore, have imagination and connection with the natural world. Think logs to climb, textures to touch, native plants to discover and quiet corners to rest. It's not just about play, it's about well-being, creativity and nourishing a long life full of environment. These upgrades aren't just ideas, they're reflections of what our community values, inclusion, sustainability, and listening to the voices of our youngest members. They've asked for spaces that feel like theirs, and together we can transform underused areas into vibrant hubs of activity and connection. Let's build a space that echoes with laughter and not silence, and let's invest in play with accessible, meaningful, and rooted nature. I've got a few quotes here from children. Amelia's 10, she said, the big one is ruined, it's too high, it's only for adults and teenagers. They want somewhere to learn and have fun too. That's not dangerous. Kids are too scared to play on it. And then at about 3 o'clock, I got an email from Bromley School, who also said they would support the removal or relocation of a skate ramp and an installation of a nature play area. The ramp is not able to be used by our students as its present form, and is in a place that is little visibility as well. They like the plan proposed to upgrade the ramp in the location of a more visibly closer to the community centre and to replace with a more user-friendly nature play. The safer footpath would also be a great addition.
All right, Well, that's very clear. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And so I assume that you would not object to it while an alternative is being sorted out, that's the old ramp remaining. So at some point you have the new ramp, the old large ramp, and then there'll be a replacement for the large ramp. Like to me, that seems like the ideal scenario. Right, cool. Thank you, Ray.
Yep.
All right, so Barbara.
You're right.
I mean, it's a fantastic plan, and it's like everybody's sort of it with that one question we had. Oh, I know that Jan had some other questions, but that wasn't a joke. Yeah, he does have some other questions. Do you think it's feasible to keep the current ramp there, and while the new stuff is done, and wait until there is a replacement for the big ramp in Linwood Park?
The plan would have been anyway to start building the new before we remove the old. That would have been close to each other, happening right after the new one's in place. I can have a chat with our operations team. As long as the skate ramp remains safe, I think we can do it. What we don't want to do is invest into repairs into the old ramp when ultimately we're actually removing it and renewing it and adding more to it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if there's a stopgap measure that's needed, it's not too expensive, then that's fine. The point is for the skating community not to lose the biggest ramp Christchurch unnecessarily.
Yeah.
Yanni, do you have any questions?
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I can't find the response around the skateboarding strategy. So I did ask when we got notified of Cyprus what was happening with the skateboarding strategy that was being reviewed. And we were told that it was getting removed from council's policies and that the play spaces plan would basically cater for it. But I haven't been able to find the response. I know Mr. of emails. Are you able to give us a sense of what's happening specifically with the skateboarding strategy review?
I am not, because I'm not a planner.
Okay.
Hang on, Jason, do you know by any chance?
Thank you. And through the chair, I've just messaged my boss because she's across at me, and she has highlighted that yes, the current strategy is out of date, and yes, it has been incorporated into the place-based network plan that is currently being developed, and we are also currently looking to get a review done by a consultant around the condition and renewal program with our current skate assets. So that work, as I understand it, is about to start.
Yeah. So you can understand the skating community being pretty frustrated. We've said we're reviewing the skating strategy, and then in the meantime, until we've even developed much of that thinking, we're coming up with specific skateboarding strategy, skateboarding line item projects that are just going ahead as though that strategy is either still in place or non-existent. So I know that we're going to do a condition assessment of our skate parks. So what I'm really trying to understand is how can we incorporate the work that's going to be done into the decisions we're making about Cyprus and obviously South Road as well. Like it does seem that there's we're missing the opportunity to get synergy with the two processes. And by the time one's done, we've made decisions on the others, which unfairly penalises the skaters.
Yeah. I have been in touch with our planner to talk this through. It's not that we looked at this in isolation, and we did actually talk about Linwood, which is only 2 minutes down the road from this one, which is up for renewal as well. And we were talking about which location would actually suit better for a more intermediate to experienced level skate ramp. And with what's happening at Cypress Garden and Bromley Old School, with a lot of younger kids being there and beginner skaters, we just felt that in the overall services that we offer at the park, that would not necessarily be the right location for the for an experienced ramp, and that would make more sense in Linwood. So that
I mean, I think the point that we're going to review our existing skating facilities, including the bird, which is, council's put funding aside to do that. So making decisions now on that seems to be premature.
Sorry.
I take your point, that it's not ideal. I'm going to suggest, because we do need to keep moving, that what we do is we amend the officer recommendation to say for that staff request an update by memo or info session regarding how scaffolding is to be incorporated within the Vietnam strategy, and then 5 that staff retain the existing ramp provided as safe until there is a suitable alternative.
I just think we need to get the information back around the cost associated with the smaller one and the intermediate older one, or the bigger one, because it seems to me part of the inherent problem with this proposal is that it's taking the skateboarding ramp budget and giving it to other projects. And so I think we do need, as a board, to resolve how that's happening. It does seem that we need to seek additional funding for items.
We're not going to be shortchanging it by doing what I'm proposing to do. So what we can try and obtain the funding, but we're not going to shut the one that's currently there. So I don't think we need to I think the decision that proposed, in fact, I'm going to move that from the chair.
Sorry, can I just get
repeat the wording?
So we just if I retain the existing ramp at Cypress Gardens until a suitable replacement at a suitable at advanced level, at advanced level. It is underway. And number 4, request staff provide an update by way of memorandum or information session on the skate strategy, and how it is incorporated in the, what's the name of the strategy, Ian?
It's called the spaces plan, but I mean, it would be my view that we don't actually get rid of the skateboarding strategy. We actually need to keep it. It actually includes BMX in mind as well. But we haven't made that call yet.
But that's implicit in the skate strategy. So it's we're having it both ways there, which I think is helpful. So I'm going to move this from the chair.
Can I give an answer to my question around the budget? How much money is currently on budget for the Cypress skate ramp renewal, and how much is on for the playground?
Isn't it in the report?
There is no playground renewal at the moment. So what we have at the moment is the budget of $290,000 that's in there. So it's 230 for the ramp and the pump track, and another 57 have been added to do the new path.
Right, so 250,000 is going into just the child's skate ramp.
The 230 is a combined budget to upgrade the pump track to an asphalt one and the skate ramp together. So it wasn't, when the budget was set for the project, it was looking at both items in scope.
Yeah, so what I've got is 85,000. So in the annual plan, when people were asked to make submissions around Cypress, skate park renewal, they would see that as the line item. They would make submissions in support or against. But now we've added $120,000 and 57,000 to other projects. That's what I'm just trying to understand around why we haven't sought additional funding from other programs, and why we don't leave that budget on for the skating facility, given that that's what the line item is for.
Okay, I understand where you're coming from now. In the project brief, it actually had the detail on the skate ramp and looking at the upgrade of the pump track. But in the project title, it only talks about the skate ramp. So when I was actually looking at the scope of the project, I was looking at both assets and not just the one, and under the complete project budget.
Okay, that answers the question. So do I have a seconder for that, for moving that, Jackie? Thank you very much. I'm sorry, I'm having to move. It's not, yeah, obviously we'd like to have everything sorted. And I'm very excited about this plan as it is, and I'm grateful for the solution, the compromise that's been proposed by Jan. I would like us to pass this today because it's really cool, and the Bromley community are really excited about it. So, would anyone like to speak? Jan?
Sorry, can I just move an amendment that we also, as a community board, request council to provide additional budget from the Capital Endowment Fund towards this project, because I think it's important that we recognise that it's good, like we this, but we also want to make sure that we address the budget shortfall.
So I'm trying to move quickly, so I'm pretty sure that Jackie will be all right with that as well. We add that. We add that number 6. That the board request council to provide additional funding to provide through the council.
That council.
The council provide funding through the Capital Endowment Fund.
Fundings.
Or other funding sources. Yeah. Or the a replacement advance grant.
So I'm assuming that's part 8 council.
That
will go to the next council.
Yes, that is a part 8 council, right?
Clarification.
Clarification.
I just don't want to other funding, if council decides, oh, we'll go to the board for funding.
Well,
we have to vote on it.
That's up to the councillors.
But we'd still need to vote on it as a board if it was coming out.
Okay, back to the board.
Yes, yes. Right, so I'm just going to put that now. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. Thank you very much.
Happy to move item 14.
Oh, happy to move item 14. Oh, happy to second from Joe. Is there any debate? No debate. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. Movement on the QE2 bus plan. How's that? The next item, we don't have any petitions. It was the correspondence was not, they did not want to table it as petition. They wanted to table it as correspondence. So these young people have so yeah, item number 7. So all we're doing is referring to staff for investigation and response. Would someone like to move that? Joe, seconded by Greg. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. Is there anyone from the Westwood Treatment Plant here to provide a briefing?
Can you check if Adam's in there?
I did too.
It's very.
Look around the top part of. Oh, we've asked, really asked for a bit of fuss in there around.
We're not there yet. And we need to have the correct staff. All right, well, I'm gonna move from item number I don't think anyone's here now. It's apparently not much to report anyway. So we will now move to item number 12, which is Ferry Road Hardwood petition pedestrian improvements. And when I first saw this, I thought, oh, this is going to be interesting, and it turned out that it's a turning arrow. So I know we all want we all like turning arrows. So unless there is anything you'd like to draw attention to, Lachlan, it's pretty uncomplicated. It's going to protect, because at the moment, I live on Raleigh Street, so at the moment, if you cross the street and there's traffic turning right, then you risk people thinking that the green light means that they can turn it into you.
Oh, I'll second it then.
Yeah, so I have a who moved it?
You did, didn't you?
No, I didn't. Jackie moved it. No, I'm gonna move that. So moved by Jackie, seconded by Tim. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Oh,
Question for staff.
sorry, you had like a couple of minutes. It felt like there to ask a question and
I repeatedly did, like several times.
so I'm very sorry that I didn't hear.
Can I just check, the council's asked for a workshop on how we prioritise
I think right-hand turning arrows. Are you able just to give us some sense of, like, I'm very supportive of this, but how do we prioritize as a community different intersections in our area around the right-hand turning arrows? Is there a process that we do that by?
Well, I guess there's the normal channels through tickets and etc. But I guess in the new term, if the board wants to put some of that stuff forward as part of their priorities, then that could come through that process as well.
Okay, because I think you'll find that with the council, there's one that can agree for there to be some sort of process around this.
Okay.
Yeah. So okay. Cool.
Okay.
So we can pick it up with the new term.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. So I'll put that now, and apologies for I genuinely did not hear you. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. So now we move to item number 15, but before we do, is Duncan here? Okay, Duncan had to leave. So we move to the South Brighton matter. Holly and Kieran are here. And I know that Celeste has some questions.
Jason's made for me, chime in if he wants to.
So yeah, you can take the report as it is, but please feel free to draw anything to our attention that you think should be.
Nope, just here to answer questions.
All right, they're happy with that. Celeste and then Yanni, and I assume other people.
Plan looks great. You've probably seen my questions coming through. Really, it's just in response to feedback. There was a few bits and pieces that some was around accessibility. Do you feel like in response, because the responses come back through that, I'm going to consider, but are there any changes that you think we can make that might address some of those concerns around accessibility?
I know that picnic benches were mentioned specifically, and we put accessible picnic benches in a standard where a wheelchair can roll up, so that's a given. I know that pathways were mentioned, and the wider reserves north and south have a 1.8 metre wide pathway, which we intend to replicate. But we may look at some of the routes towards the accessible picnic tables having a widening if possible. We do face the slight challenge that on the Bund, which is the flood management raised area, we're not allowed to put asphalt, so it has to be the crusher dust, it has to be an impervious surface. So we can't change that based on a sort of recommendations from our colleagues in Three Waters. So we've added additional car parking spaces, disability spaces close to the recreational area. The general upgrade to the asphalt will help with that across car parking, and a new footpath to connect the BT Street entrance to the recreational space. So I guess we hope that we've covered it as much as possible.
And then the other part was around, similar to the Snowgrass one, which you would have seen, it's around making sure that obviously we want it to be user friendly for a wide range of people, but we also want to make sure that it's not so sort of generic, I don't want to use that word, but simple in design, that it doesn't actually cater for some of the users that are already existing in that space. And because there has, through the feedback, it's clear that there's quite a strong scanning community, and I guess making sure that we can build on that and put that feedback in. Is there a way through this process where we could say we approve the design, but actually say, look, there's a little bit more work that needs to happen as part of this process to consult with those factors? We put an amendment up. We look at just getting a bit more feedback around that.
Always, that's your call.
Will.
But I guess that will end up with delays in the process if we consult. I guess it depends whether you're talking about community consultation or whether talking directly to the skate community. I guess it's worth noting that in the management plan, we were not directed to deliver a skate facility. We were directed to deliver pump tracks, and we've tried to I guess utilise what we know is happening there with skate by putting skatable features around the basketball court, and what we've tried to be creative with is connecting the intermediate track to that basketball area and skate area so that you could roll from the intermediate track into the skatable area in the basketball court. So we're trying to make use of, I guess, existing hard surface to be multi-faceted. That does, there's as much as that is a good thing, you could then argue that there's a potential conflict between two user groups, basketball and skate. But the community of, well, I guess the basketball court's not been in a great condition to date, but that relationship seems to be quite harmonious at this stage. So we sort of lent into that multi-user space. I mean, there's always room to, I know some people would like if we put a half ramp there too. That was outside the scope, and we could look if we were directed to add that down the track as a separate element. But yeah, we were just focusing on the management plan, which was to deliver the 2 pump tracks, and we sort of bent that slightly to.
Thanks so much. So I might just flag that as an amendment to look at that down the track, because I think, we've heard, and the reason those consultation processes are so helpful is that we can sort of get a general sense of 99% of it's bang on, and then there's just a bit more that we might need to do. And then if we can kind of reflect that back, and then it's part of it. So that would be a question of, can we get advice on getting in a half?
You could add to the staff recommendation to investigate, but investigate putting in a half pipe.
So I guess we sort of know what that would look like. We know roughly where it'd be. We know roughly the cost. We're sort of aware of that, but are we being advised then to come back to you with some costings of what that would look like? Okay.
Yeah, and also consulting with key stakeholders within that community, that part of the design.
Yeah,
that'd be ideal, as well as the skating elements, just to make sure that that's kind of reflective of what will work.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's a lot to capture in a resolution. We'll work on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whilst we're halfway through that, sorry, I'm through you.
No, that's right.
What do you want me to add to the end of 4, like following consultation with the community stakeholders?
I guess when we just thinking from it holistically, when we consult directly with skaters who might say do X, Y, and Z, we then, do you want us to then just roll with that? Or are we going back to reconsult with the wider community who feel quite tapped out with consultation? Because as soon as you add, hypothetically, we come up and say, well, the skate community want us to put in a half pipe, which may or may not be, but then we've, out of sort of fairness, we should then consult with the basketball users and the wider neighbours. So when you add a skate element, which we can look at the feasibility of, we then probably should let everybody have an opinion on that. Because are you talking about tweaking or adding?
I would assume that you would provide advice to us about that once you had.
And the reason that was identified is because there was 2 elements that came to that, and accessibility on this specifically around skating, which is why that's been identified as an area that hadn't quite been adjusted to the point that I think it needed to be, which is why that's, so if it had been basketball, I would have said let's pick on that area, but I think that's pretty well covered. There was a little bit of feedback around basketball, but not.
I guess my concern is that we come back to you on the one community's opinion on skate without talking to the wider community. Yeah, I just don't want to be in a position where we're not representing everybody, the direct neighbours.
You could advise us on next steps.
Okay.
Yeah.
It would be reconsult widely, I think.
Yeah, I think it would be good to also capture that in the resolution to kind of say, because at the moment it reads more like that our next step would be doing consultation with key stakeholders, whereas maybe the investigation includes additional advice on future consultation.
Because it might be part of your design that
we wouldn't go into detailed design without knowing what other elements we're putting in. And I don't think we want to put skate's exceptionally expensive as well. Well, it depends whether we're talking concrete or wood, and so we're not talking about a little bit of money here, as you guys are aware. So I think not that I think the community wants to be reconsulted on, but so I feel a little bit torn on this, because I don't want to add extra things without telling everyone, but I don't think the community wants to be asked again. This was out in 2014, revised in 2021. we said we'd deliver by 2023.
So we wanted, so I think I probably speak for the board here, that the board wants to see the stuff that's already been consolidated on and we're approving today being done.
Okay.
So not holding back.
So this is like a,
Bigger project.
We may struggle to do the pathway. We could do the car park, I guess. We could it would probably not be prudent to do the pathways and recreational until we know what the skate features look like, because we wouldn't want to put a pathway to the wrong direction and then be putting something else in.
Yeah, no.
So I guess we could move with the car park, but I guess recreation might have to be a whole package.
It's okay.
What's your thoughts?
Maybe we'll pack that, because it sounds a bit more padded.
So are you wanting to remove that?
No, I just think that perhaps might get cleared. Let's go with what Yanni's done. We'll just reflect on that.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to ask the question in terms of the current use, because when I read the submissions, we do get quite a strong flavour from people that go and they just skate and, you know, do it the DIY kind of intuitive, putting different elements on. How many people have we seen playing basketball versus skate? Do you have any sort of data around the current usage?
No, sorry, we don't have any data or that I'm aware of.
So how do we work out like what like I get people say they want this or they want that, but if people aren't using it or certain groups are using it more than others, I mean, I'm just mindful of like the DIY skateboard ramps that get put on like a flat surface like a basketball court, and then a whole lot of skaters are using that space, even though we see it as a basketball court. Actually, it's a for its purposes, it's a skate park that people race.
I guess it's a bit of a chicken and egg thing though, because there was quite a lot of surface issues with the basketball court, so maybe it wasn't being used as a basketball court because of its condition. Maybe I don't want to speak to that definitely, but it's a chicken and egg thing. So we sort of felt that if we had an upgrading service of both, then it could be a multifaceted thing. The elements we propose for skate can act as seating around the basketball court, so it might draw in more basketball players too.
I mean, my sense would be that we need more advice on what we can do to enhance the skating area. It shouldn't be at the expense of holding anything up or of like, you know, taking away from other things. I am mindful that like in Bexley, for example, there was a really successful partnership with the BMX Club, Rata, Council, and the Endowment Fund to actually get a really good outcome. So I think these sorts of facilities, there's other people that would add or contribute funding because of, you know, the values that they associate with these sorts of activities. And so is there a way that we can, get that further advice around an expansion of the skating facilities?
Yeah, through the chair. I think going back to your earlier comments regarding strategically whether this is the right place to throw substantial money at skate infrastructure itself. New Brighton, in regard to being a hub, whether that is the right location, is something that we'll probably need to go that next step back if we are looking to invest that much money, and we can do that as part of this resolution, I believe. The design that we've come up with is in my opinion, a substantial increase in the level of service we're providing for skate in that location, and we've provided that on the basis of the feedback we received from the skate community, balanced with the budget we have, because as we all know, we always love as a community to have more, it always has to come in somebody's pocket. So we've tried to balance those wants and needs, and we are providing an increased level of service here. But yeah, I think there's a strategic, and this goes back to the strategy conversation around whether this is the right location to invest in additional, especially half pipes, when we potentially are getting another facility over at Cypress Gardens, what happens at Linwood, as well as Thompson Park, which is earmarked in, I suppose.
So it's at the risk of us traversing every park that could be used on the east. I think it would seem like we probably should leave the resolution as a staff recommendation. You happy with the staff recommendation?
But sorry. So rather than pause the projects, keep an option 4 because,
Yeah.
I mean, it might be that, I mean, if we have a budget of 8 to 10,000, say, or 12,000, whatever. We actually still have better funding that we can apply for, so there could be scope for us to add on rather than change up. That makes sense.
And I think,
Yeah.
maybe could bring Damon to the table here if you wanted, but you know, things like changing parts of it from asphalt to concrete might be a happy medium. That may mean we might need to go back out to consultation on.
Yeah, potentially, there isn't a significant increase in cost from asphalt to concrete elements.
There is or isn't.
A significant increase between asphalt and concrete elements. Yeah, when you're designing skate spaces, it's always been the hardest one with this project of the needs of the pump track versus the needs of the skater, which is why we separated the elements.
I'm aware that we've got, this seems like a wider conversation that we need to have apart from this decision-making meeting. Like, it's important, which is why I'm suggesting we don't just have it, sure that we put this extra element aside, and we leave the resolution, as it is, and meaning that we can get extra advice, and that there's no, we'll come back to it.
Okay.
Will that delay the project?
So we don't want to.
So it will delay.
It will delay, yeah. So if we have something more like that, separate, say something like separate to this project, that staff provide advice on how best to provide for the for skateboarders.
Right, the staff provide advice regarding how best to provide for the needs of skateboarding community in the Waitai board area.
I think the challenge you've got is it's probably hard to retrofit something on top once you've got something that's landscaped down. If this is an area that you want to go, you'd probably be better to wait and do it holistically. Exactly. Rather than trying to shoehorn in something later. That's kind of what I'm hearing.
Exactly, and that's why changing it to that means that we get the additional information, and instead of sitting here and trying to do it now, we can do something to increase the level of service for skateboarders on the east side later. So I do have a couple of, I'm assured, 3 to 5 tiny questions from Greg, but I would like to move to the motion after that, and this is like a peculiar question.
I really appreciate the changes that were made to after consultation. So often we have consultation feedback come through and it doesn't change. So I really appreciate the changes.
Yeah, that is good.
The cost of the driveway, is that included in the car parking cost? Because it seems really high for resealing to existing car park already.
Unfortunately, resealing and there's the potential of contaminated land, so we've put in quite a big buffer. We've got to take up a third of the BD Street car park, re-asphalt. Just the quantity of asphalt we need to reseal all the way down to the new recreational space and put the new car parking there. I've intentionally gone quite high level because this is in a coastal area, the resource consent requirements, contaminated land, unknowns. That we've put quite a high buffer on it, but unfortunately it's the cost of car parking.
That's cool. I just wanted to say that. And the other one was, is the flooding around the court, the basketball court being addressed as well as part of the plan?
Yeah, we'll address the drainage when we do the resurfacing of the basketball court. Yeah.
Just Joe, if it is the outcome of this going likely to shape the debate, the question that you had, or can we
not? I just wanted to know that the final extent of the asphalt going down towards the estuary, has that been decided?
Sorry, you mean how far we're going into that other car
because
park?
I know like there's potholes past that point.
Yeah.
Will they be addressed or?
If budget can.
Yeah, if budget allows, we'll go as far as I guess we can with that.
Quite meaty potholes.
Yeah. I guess the priority was the BT Street area, and that was what was been flagged all along. But yeah, no, we are aware that other but it's a whole other car parking space. If we go all into that, that's probably a third on top.
Going over potholes and.
Yeah, and remediation will definitely happen.
All right, so, thank you very much. Yeah, I think, yeah, yes.
One additional question, just wanted to check around the sports network plan, the purpose sports facilities, like that Middleton's getting. Multi-sport zone playing spaces, was that considered for here? Or what's the process for us to consider as a board putting those elements into our projects?
Thank you, and through the chair. It wasn't considered for this area, so it wasn't part of the development plan that's already been approved by previous community boards. However, I do believe a matrix is being done at the moment by our planning team to consider locations. In regard to process, I'm assuming that would come through the boards in the new term. However, I can go back to my manager and confirm how that process is rolling out and how that is be considered and how boards can
right, thank you.
Provide their opinion.
So just before we move to debate for any motion and move, I am advised by a community governance manager that number 4 will still delay it. We'll still delay the project. If we're okay with that, then we can go with that.
Could I make a suggestion that we put an amendment that we move ahead with the car park, because having multiple contractors in there all at once is not good from a project management thing. If I get the go ahead to do the car parking stuff, then we can at least start. The community can see some movement. That should not interface with this significantly. Then whilst I'm moving with that construction element, we can come back to this. Then sort of gives us the opportunity to move a third of it and come back to the recreational side of things.
Sounds like a sensible approach, because
It does. How would, without looking at ANC and the how would we amend that motion?
B is car parking, I believe.
So we could just add number 5. We add 5 to say that staff proceed immediately with the car park.
Proceed with.
C is car parking.
Not immediately.
Proceed
with.
Not and take immediately out.
Yeah, so we can move that and then go back to the recreational space for further exploration.
Okay, well that covers this. All right, in that case, does anyone like to move that very narrowly to lease? And
Both my hands up.
second, I didn't see though, seconded by Joe. Would someone like to, is there any debate? No, I think there is. I will put that. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. The next one is really just consequential motion from the decision that we've already made about crab, which is to remove trees and then to replace. Moved and seconded. Is there any debate about this? No. I'll put that now. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. You made a long proposal, but just democracy and yeah, so Dave and Hannah and Angus. We've got I didn't.
No Angus tonight, by the looks.
I don't know what. Do I need to go down some word killing?
Waitai wood choppers.
Anyway, so again, you can take the report as read. Is there anything you'd like to draw our attention to? No? Okay, Alex, question? Or does it?
You just struck out, sorry, just.
He wants to add escape facility.
The same as that one, Alex.
Yeah, it's.
I just wanted to
clarify, we discussed this earlier, it might be out of the scope of this, and I'll keep it really quick, but this is a significant change for many residents who have once lived in that area. So I don't know if this is the appropriate forum to raise an movement, but potentially just when we go out to the communities, continuing to maintain the communication that's open and upfront about why this is happening. Because I've got an emails already asking that, we deem this unsafe for housing. If people lived here and could no longer live here, why are we now doing this? Not sure if this is the right team or not, but just ensuring that we've got really good comms with our community as to why now what's changed would just be really important. I don't think emotion is probably the right way to address it, but I just want to raise it.
You could always know that.
You could, but I would question the need. But it is really good to, I assume that anything in this corridor is dealt with extra sensitivity, given that people have lost their home and stuff.
Yeah, we do get that a wee bit in the consultation. So it's something that we're quite used to answering. And I guess the main point is that what we're putting back is significantly different to housing. So 3/4 of this project is a wetland restoration, which is what that land is trying to turn into anyway. There's a little bit of a tidy up of the sports fields and some remarking, and then it's a playground renewal. So it's very low impact compared to housing.
I'm not going to put an emotion here, but potentially would it be possible maybe to do like there's quite a lot of cool information boards at different places across the area, potentially just talking about what was on the space. Is that something, and I'm not going to put it in emotion, but I just want to raise it now, so we're going to catch up you after this, but potentially something that could be incorporated later on. If you want
and the interp signage or something like that. Yeah,
something that's just a bit of history to the area.
Yeah.
Any more questions? Joe and then Greg and then Yanni.
When you came here last time, we talked about if there was any budget left over to do that cocaine reserve car park. Is that on the plan?
It may not have been me, that may have been Rob. Rob's the PM running this, so he came last time for the.
Can I put on for
Yes. Good memory, Joe.
Was that?
Got a good memory.
Yeah, can't be too much cocaine.
We could forget the cocaine reserve.
Yes, is the answer to that. Yeah, we'll be.
So will we do?
Yeah, we're looking.
Awesome.
You might.
Thank you.
All right, any more?
Yeah.
Greg?
Do you feel there's sufficient parking for the number of sports fields that are going to be in that space now?
Yes, in conjunction with the car park that Joe's just mentioned across the road. There's quite a lot of car parking there. So if we do tidy that up, then there should be enough. It's only a summer field, so it wouldn't be used in winter. It'd be a primarily summer facility. We don't.
The rugby fields.
That's touch rugby.
Rugby posts up on one of them.
So they're moving from here. So it's it won't be a
shifting the Gold Coast again, Dave.
That's as I understand it, that's their request. So they want more touch rugby fields, which is what we're providing, but it won't be a winter rugby facility.
Right.
Wait 10 years for that.
An awful joke.
Yeah, thank you. You miss me. Yanni.
This kind of comes back to, we've got a sports network plan. All necessary is visibility about how it's been prioritised, how projects are being chosen. Projects are happening. There's huge amounts of money that's been given to some projects, and I still don't understand the strategic need for these individual projects and how that fits into that bigger picture. So I know Touch were part of that, and they've given us their priorities, but we haven't directly been told that as a community board. But is this one of the areas that Touch said was a priority to the sports network plan?
Yes, so part of the driver for the field work was because Touch reached out before we even started the project and asked what could be done. So we've worked with the sport team. They know all of the aspirations of all the different local clubs, and they've provided a lot of input through the development of the plan in terms of what needs to go into this field. So all that stuff around rugby moving to a different location, that's all come through then. So we work super closely with those guys, and this is the advice that they've given us in terms of the usage of that space.
So where is rugby moving to?
I'm not sure. Sorry, I'd have to go back and find that out. I'm not super close to that information.
Thank you, Yanni. Would someone like to move the staff recommendation? That's right, Joe, it was Joe. Do we have a seconder? Oh, Jackie.
Kind of was moved and seconded.
No, it was moved by.
Tim and then.
Yeah.
You went into the question.
Oh, all right, okay, Jackie and Tim it is. I'm sorry, I forgot that. Moved by Jackie, seconded by Tim. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against, carried. Do you know the criteria for a judicial review?
I do.
Yeah, do you know it off by heart?
I absolutely.
Did you pass? So to speak, someone with your neighbours,
Move 810, because it's pretty.
moved by Tim. Do we have a seconder for someone with your neighbours?
Yeah, well, actually, at least Joe wants to.
You.
Someone.
Oh. Oh, okay, moved by Tim, seconded by
Kelly.
Kelly. All those in favour say aye. Against, carry. Yeah, so Tim, if you, there are the better off funding, so are you moving all both of those?
Yeah, 19 as well, yeah.
Yeah.
So, do we have a seconder?
Tim.
Yeah.
Tim, okay, so that's moved by Tim and Tim. Do we have any questions, staff? Yeah.
Moved by Celeste, seconded by Tim, okay.
Can I just, can I say one thing? The community garden actually asked me to, because in my report, I didn't mention why it was called Faye's Garden. So, they had a volunteer called Faye, and she passed away recently and she left $1,000. And it was the donation part. And so they're nominating that, the name towards her. So I just want to acknowledge the family and just put that out there. Yeah.
So, thank you. I think Yanni had a question.
Yeah, so just, thanks for the work you're doing on the Better Off Fund. I was just concerned that there is quite a large discrepancy between where the funding's been allocated to between the wards. And I'm just wondering, given that there's a balance remaining, is there a way that we can delegate to staff to put that towards Linwood projects? I mean, just to give you an example, like when I added up the costs of each area this goes through, it's quite significant, the disparity.
But just want to raise want to clarify something. There's still $80,000 there to spend in Linwood of better off funding of the safety money. So there is a large pool of money still, and I'm obviously spend money in Linwood, but there is quite a chunk, and there are other things being worked on.
Yeah, so I guess what I'm interested in is that we don't. Is there a way that we can delegate that decision making so it happens? If we're not going to have another board meeting for 3 months, and there's good projects like I'm aware Smith Street Garden, for example, been working on a lot of really good stuff. Is there a way that we can delegate?
No, procedurally, there's no way that we can do that now without staff advice.
I can say that Emily's working with Smith Street Garden, and I think they'll be looking to potentially get some better off funding. So I can say that.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm worried about the time delay.
They were ready for this meeting anyway.
Yeah.
So they're going to take this to get
All right. So we have a mover and a seconder. So we'll put that now. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, carry. Thank you, Sam. And now we move on to the board area report. They're moved by Jackie. Do you have a seconder?
I do.
A seconder by Tim. I just want to say thank you again for an amazing report and the amazing amount of work that's been done. And I just want to note that if you look through that reporting against our board plan, we, the elected members and staff together, have done a huge amount this term. And really goes back to the beginning where we put in place a plan that was concrete and that we could actually deliver, and we've delivered. I haven't calculated how much, but a very large proportion.
Oh God, there goes my speech.
What we set out to do. Well, but yeah, I'm not giving a valedictory, so I won't go on very long. But I just want to acknowledge, for the record, thank you to all members and all staff for this term's work, and I hope that the new board will continue on in a similar vein. and so with that, I'll, unless there are any questions of staff, well, there are questions of staff, Yanni?
Yeah, thanks. So we got some good stuff through in the budget, but we still seem to lack any sort of key understanding around process or milestones. For example, I know that staff will be meeting, like board staff, hopefully are meeting with like transport staff. Is there a way?
Bromley.
Well, like, yeah, like Hay Street renewal, improving Bromley Road, even the organics plant and the wastewater treatment plant, getting timeframes has been challenging. So I'm just wondering, is there a way, if they, given that this is the last meeting, in terms of the, as you said, we've got, you know, things in our area report that we've achieved or we've got significant progress on, but is there a way just to kind of conclude it with the next steps and all the key, where the milestones are at, so that the incoming board can see what needs to be picked up? I'm just concerned that we don't lose momentum, mindfully aware that even though we've got funding on, several months has moved on, like this, like the vert ramp, for example, which we still haven't started. It's not a board project, but it kind of gets kicked around. And next thing you know, that's the draft annual plan. You're then fighting again for the funding because the funding's been cut. So
I guess with the vert ramp, I think that actually tips into another board area. So it's not something that we've got a lot of oversight over, but what we're planning on doing, we've started work on is the induction plan for the new board. We'll be doing like the old welcome packs again. So they will have summaries of the previous monitoring reports and forward plans, but also a forward look. And we're looking at booking in like the initial induction workshop sessions. So until we know who the new board are going to be, it's a bit tricky to know what the new priority is going to look like. Hopefully some will continue. And that's where we can start going, okay, we got this far, where do you want to refine, where do you want to go in future towards these goals?
Yeah, and unlike last time, because there was a change in the boards, this next board will be the same area and the same staff. And so there'll be continuity in a way that there wasn't before. And I know that, so I think you've heard from the governance manager that those things are going to be handed on. So I think we can trust that. Do we have any other questions from staff about the report? No? Well, in that case, I'm going to put that. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against, carries. Thank you. And now we move to, I'm going to suggest that we don't have an elected members information exchange, given that it's the last board meeting of the term, other than to say, before I hand to our departing member, or at least voluntarily departing member, that I've appreciated working with this board and the almost entirely constructive manner in which, despite disagreements on some things, that we have gone about things, and I hope that whoever is on the next board continues in that vein. And Tim, long-standing member of something like 15 years with a little hiatus. I'll leave the final words of this meeting, apart from our karakia of the term, to you.
Can I just butt in and say that you've been a great chair, Paul? Thanks very much on behalf of all of us.
Yeah,
I think
he was definitely better than the last year I had.
So you're not allowed to vote.
Thank you, Keller. That was highly out of order.
Yes, I know.
So, no, thank you. So,
Thank you.
Done. Sorry.
No worries.
you have to stand.
It's been a great 3 years, and first I'd like to thank the staff, because the staff have been fantastic. The groups I've been involved with and the help you've given them is brilliant, and then hearing from everybody else as well. So congratulations and keep it up. And then I was going to say, Mr. Chair. Oh, you have done a great job. Brilliant job. I couldn't have done it as well as you have, so I'm glad you're the chair.
Thanks.
And if some of you don't come back because of bad luck, well done to what you've, everyone here, we may have our differences, but we've all put our best in and we're here for the right reasons. And we have got on with each other. There's been no fighting. We got close to it 6 years ago, but, you know.
Porter.
Yanni, I think it's a real disaster that we didn't get Jade Stadium or Lancaster Park back, but thanks for fighting for that and for, so I'll get the ball over the line. Celeste, wake up.
I'm listening.
Oh, you are. Congratulations for not voting for the stadium. I think our debt is going to be massive. And don't forget, we're overdue for a big earthquake. It's going to happen in our lifetimes or our kids or Alex's lifetime anyway. And when it happens, life is going to change. So we don't need to spend money on big items that we don't really need. We need to get our debt down because, you know, we're going to be without power off and on for 10 years when this happens. Things are going to change dramatically. So let's look at the longer term stuff, please, everybody. And please, councillors who get in, please don't sell any of our major assets. So pleasure working with you all. And I wish you all the best for the near future and the long future. Thanks.
Thanks.
No.
Do you want to ask?
No, there's no.
Can I just say that you said no election thing? Can I just say about one item though?
Go for it.
Yeah. Lake Street with the social housing that's going to hopefully go there. The trust is people from not as it the LEC, the Labour Electorate Committee. It's some of the members there have the trust. We have one house in the corner of Pages and Shortland Street that we saved, and Angus was going to pull it down, and that's worked out really well. So we're looking at putting 10 30 square metre houses, nice looking houses there, hopefully. And it will have someone who will be monitoring, you know, being a social worker to the people living there. So it's not going to be any crazy stuff that's been on social media. It's all positive. And there's a huge space there that it won't all be being used either. So it's going to be a good looking place. Tenants will be watched over. It's all positive for homeless people. So it's just, please support it.
That's what it used to be housing.
And it used to be 24 houses there. We're going to have 10. Yeah.
Well, thank you. And I think it's suitable to leave Tim with the final words of the. Would you like to lead us in the closing karakia?
Into. Yeah.
All right, thank you, everyone.